Photogrammetry, there you go.
What did you measure? The line?
I got the angular size of the mountain and represented it as pixels.
Where did you measure? Where did you measure that from?
What do you mean? What a measure? As in, I've got the height of the mountain and the distance of the mountain.
The measurement for the angle.
Yeah, someone has measured the height of the mountain, right? That's on Google, and I got the distance to it, probably also from Google. And therefore, I have an angular size.
Okay, so you found a picture on Google, I take it.
Somewhere, yep.
And then you got some measurements that somebody else has made from Google.
I would have measured it.
Translated that into an angle.
Yep.
Then you changed that angle into a straight line, and then drew the straight line on the picture.
Yep. That's where 0 meters above sea level is.
And that is what are we calling that? Are you calling that photogrammetry?
Yes.
Roohifs. Photogrammetry, because I don't think that's not the real way of doing it, is it?
I think it is.
That's why we call it Roohifs.
Well, you can call it that. You can call Ranty's
I'm sure
historic
we can
as
call
well.
it with something better than that, though.
I'm sure you will call it something better.
Drawing
sure you
lines
will.
on pictures sounds much better.
Yeah.
Can you team up with Jose and get a crayon? He's got a YouTube video with some guy that's been debunked as a surveyor. He's got a surveyor in his name on his YouTube channel.
You can, I guess, draw a flat plane between the 2 points of a water level, but that won't be a flat horizontal plane to your original location.
Go on, keep saying circle and parabola. Perhaps you might understand that it doesn't work in reality.
Yeah, that's the problem in reality. Then.
The plumb would curve if the horizontal curve. That's just a given.
If you bring the mountain closer, it has to get smaller to maintain the same angular size. That's why the line doesn't change.
Don't take advice from fools. Everything that they say is in vain. Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
My prediction is that picture. Now, you go and get Ranty to do his little dance up to back the Winter Hill and take his picture. Then you can come back and tell me whether I'm right or wrong.
Right, so your prediction is that you won't see Blackpool Tower.
Or what you can do is keep dancing like this and prove me right. Ranty will not go there. Is that what you're going to do when Ranty goes up with his auto level? You're going to draw a line on that picture?
I've already calculated that and published my prediction, which you have not, because you're a coward.
Never take advice from fools. Everything that they say is in vain. Never take advice from fools. Everything that they do is in vain.
I'm making my prediction on experience because I've been there. I've looked out with the camera P1000. I've also got experience of an auto level, 32 times scope auto level, and looking at that out of distance. And I've also got experience of actually using the level for the job that it's meant to be done.
That's fantastic.
Multiple levels.
Sounds like you would be the perfect person to make an accurate prediction, right?
Which I have.
Yeah.
I've given you a picture. Much better prediction than anybody else has ever given you.
That's not a prediction. You gave a shit picture on a shit day. That's not a prediction, Bev.
That's a prediction what the picture is. If you can get Ranty to the top of Winter Hill, that's a prediction of the type of picture Ranty will give you.
Don't take advice from fools. 'Cause everything that they say is in vain. Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
you know the height of the...
Because it's been fucking measured, Bev. Why are you asking such dishonest questions?
This tool is to create a flat plane at a specific point where you're standing. And to do that, you have to make a correction for the readout of the water levels.
No, I said level is horizontal.
Do you actually think that the side on a triangle opposite the angle is they're
It's the same thing. It's the same thing, yeah.
I got your numbers, they're right here.
Oh, I'm giving you plenty of content for your bullshit, right?
It's just as easy as 1, 2, 3. You have to open your mind.
You can measure shit with it.
Imagination is all you need. Don't take advice from fools. 'Cause everything that they say is in
I've
vain.
proven to myself that those are pictures of curve of Earth.
Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
Who else have you told about this? Because I'm going to check
Everyone.
that
I've
way.
made videos about it, Bev.
Right.
Flat actually has a scientific definition. If you guys did your research, you would know that.
So the top of that red line is the angle to the top of the mountain, and the bottom of that red line is the angle to the bottom. You can measure shit with it.
Everything is relative to you.
The angle that we're representing
Just have to say it in generality.
is the same
Just like those straight lines are curving.
representation as the third side.
Drive down the road, don't you ever swerve. And I don't know where all of this goes.
You can measure shit with it.
Never take advice from fools. 'Cause everything that they say is in vain.
Oh, I'm giving you plenty of content for your bullshit, right?
Never take advice from fools. 'Cause everything that they do is in vain.
I just said I don't know where I got it from, but I know how cameras work, so that's where I got it from. And therefore, you can represent angles with pixels.
Could you draw a picture, draw a line on a picture from an auto level and then reverse engineer an angle out of it?
I can, yeah. Can be done.
I know the game that you're playing.
Is that the Isle of Man in the
And
background?
I know exactly what's on your mind.
Yes, yes it is.
You got your playbook, it's alright. Your model dictates what you will find. And I don't know
It's a game. I like getting you guys to contradict yourselves.
where all of this goes. Don't take advice from fools. 'Cause everything that they say is in vain.
You can measure shit with it.
Never take advice from fools. We all know what they do is in vain.
You cannot
He'll tell you,
represent
he can
an
measure
angle as a line.
Yes, you can. That's what it is. Cameras map angles to pixels.
Vertical height.
Yes, above sea level.
And the distance would be a horizontal distance, right?
Near enough to it, yes.
So that he can be in his comments and his misinformation. So when you know someone on that level and then goes and says, I'm a Glober now. No. This is all a joke to me, and we all know what he's doing, the ones that actually know Ranty. And I'm not having it. And I don't like to give him any attention, just like he did a video on me. I could have did a video on him, but what's the point? Because he wants airtime, publicity. No, thank you, Ranty.
Well, yeah, he's going to get loads. I mean, you don't see the benefits for you of Ranty going up a mountain with an auto level. Can you not? I can.
No,
It's
because
amazing.
I don't trust anything that's going to come from him.
Obviously, yeah. But we want him to go up the mountain with an auto level. Don't you?
Do we?
Mm-hmm.
They must think there's a benefit, right? I mean, they bought an auto level. Why they didn't have one already, I don't they've sure talked about them a lot, like they've used them a lot and owned them. They bought one. They haven't picked it up yet, but they're going to bring it up a mountain. So surely they think there's benefit.
Mm. There is definitely benefit. I can see the benefit of it. It may not become quite apparent just at the minute, but especially for flat earthers, there is a great benefit of Ranty going up a mountain with an auto level. When you know what an auto level's used for. So I want Ranty to go up. I really do. So we're thinking of doing a predictathon. Then we can all flood Ranty with the predictions that he needs. He needs to reach an amount of predictions before he will go. He's already made that clear. Even though Roohifs give him the money.
I think Ranty should just disappear into irrelevance.
That comes after the auto level.
I don't think anybody cares what he thinks.
No, it's what he's willing to do for Roohif. That's the point, right? It just goes to show the type of person that would be willing to do this sort of thing.
But what confuses me is this is observational man, Ranty, who then changed his mind by an observation done by you.
No.
Then he's like,
no,
thanks,
he
Bev.
didn't do it by me. No, that was all. That was all
he
part of the
was
trick.
claiming that. My bad. That's what I was told. Put it that way.
Yeah, he found a picture on Facebook.
Okay, yeah.
And then when we went to go and prove that it was a dodgy picture, Ranty then had to switch his tack to say it was my picture that, my lad's picture that flipped him. But it wasn't. I went there to show that at that time of night, it's not dark. It's a seafront. It gets lit.
Right.
So, like Ranty again, it was a play. Roohif set that up for Ranty, if you didn't know. And it's all based on what the auto level does and measuring angles. That you don't measure angles. It's reappropriating things. All based on that.
But how does somebody at his point, with observations and what he's done, take one picture and go, yep, I'm a glober now?
He hasn't took any pictures.
Well, I mean, look at one, excuse me. Yeah, look at a picture or anything and go, this is it. I'm done now. No flat earth. It's baffling. That doesn't happen.
Well, it's just for the same reason that he's going to go up Winter Hill with an auto level. What, for publicity? For content? For subs? Roohif paid him.
or that too. Or
very
paid him.
Simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
There'd be no other reason for anybody to go up Winter Hill with an auto level. I can tell you that. You would have to get paid handsomely. I would anyway. It's a ridiculous thing to make anybody do. But hey, some people will do that. Some people will do anything for money.
Where are you from? Can I ask? Sorry.
Ooh.
Apologies. Oh no, it's out of the blue.
Who's that?
It's Mark. I'm Zach. I'm new. Yarid.
All right.
Your accent. I've never heard that before, but I know it's from here.
From here.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but your mic is you are overpowering it.
Yeah.
So can you lower the mic?
Yeah, I'm turning my gain down. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that all right? I agree.
Yeah. About. Thanks.
No bother. I have to say, all of the conversation, the flow I've been listening to, this is the best Discord channel I've been in for a hell of a long time. You know what I mean? This is invigorating. You know what I mean? It's astronomical.
An angle.
Because that's what cameras do. They have rectilinear lenses. The field of view is a linear relationship between the pixels and the angle.
Yeah, but you like to change an angle into the side. Do you actually think that the side on a triangle opposite the angle they're the same thing?
It's the same thing, yes.
That's weird. They're proportional, right?
Fine.
Are they?
That angle, right?
Yeah.
Is the same thing as the
angle's
opposite
always
side.
the same in a triangle, right? Do the sides always say the same? Is that
The angle that we're representing is the same representation as the third side.
Yeah, but the third side.
The far side from that angle.
The one opposite the angle.
Yes.
Right.
It's
Now,
the same thing.
if the angle doesn't change,
then the third side doesn't change.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I'm not so sure that's how triangles work, though, Riley. Right?
It is for these ones.
Okay. Well, let's say I'll give you. Let's say we've got a you've heard of an equilateral triangle, right?
I have.
Okay. Now, how big's the side?
1.
Oh, always 1, is it?
No, you just asked me I gave you an answer. 1.
Yeah, but you said it's proportional, right? That side is the same, right? It's the same as the angle, because that's obviously there's a relationship there now. So,
yes.
How big is the side of an equilateral triangle? Equilateral.
How about you come up with an example rather than asking for random numbers?
Please tell me, what is the size of the side of the triangle with an equilateral?
I know you know about similar triangles, Bev.
Yep.
I know you know about
Seems
similar
like you've
triangles.
forgotten, though, right?
No. That's how I know that
the angle's always 60 degrees. How big is the side?
In an equilateral triangle, yes.
How big is the
side?
The
sides can be any length. The sides can be any length.
So it's a bit hard to represent a line for an angle, like a distance.
Because of the relationship between angular size, actual size, and distance. They're similar triangles.
Yep.
Right.
So the
size of that red line doesn't change.
Changes all of the time, right? That's the whole point.
Because of that relationship. The angular size, if that angle is that angle, the red line is that big, regardless of how far away it is or whatever.
Are you sure? That's
yes.
not how
it has an angle. That photo I posted.
If this is embarrassing, I don't think you can get out of this.
The photo that I posted, the mountain has an angular size. The photo that the mountain has an angular size of 0.5 degree.
If you've told Ranty, who else have you told about this?
It doesn't matter where in that photo. That same length line is 0.5 degree anywhere.
Who else have you advised?
In the foreground, in the background, whatever, that 0.5 degree is always 300 and something pixels in that photo. You can measure shit with it.
Yeah, you can think you can.
But I can, and I get accurate results. That's the difference.
We've just sort of proved, haven't we, that the size is changing, ever changing.
No, because the angular size stays the same.
No,
the angular size of a mountain.
The angle stays the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and
the size of the
side
on the other side of that angle does not stay the same. Does it?
The angular size relationship. If you bring the mountain closer,
there isn't such a thing.
If you bring the mountain closer, it has to get smaller to maintain the same angular size. That's why the line doesn't change. The red line doesn't change. It's 0.5 degree, no matter where you put it.
Who else have you told about this, Roohif? Because I'm going to have to check
Everyone.
now.
I've made videos about it, Bev.
Right. Okay. So we'll do. If I do a video about how the angle is just an angle. When you talk about size, you're talking about the size of the angle.
It's the angular size of the mountain. That's how big, that's how much it takes up of your field of view.
Mm-hmm. So does the angle change?
Absolutely no idea how
the size of the mountain change in reality?
Say again?
In reality, does the angle change or the size of the mountain change?
The size of the mountain never changes. Mm-hmm. The distance to the mountain and the size of the mountain can change the angular size.
The angle changes. The size of the angle
if you get
changes.
closer or further away.
Yes. Okay.
If you get closer or further away.
So when you're talking about the size, you're talking about the size of the angle. Actual number, like 53 degrees is greater than 33 degrees, right?
Yep.
Okay.
The mountain is 0.5 degrees tall from that location.
So you're just talking about the angle, aren't you?
Yeah, and then representing that as pixels.
Representing an angle as pixels.
Yes, because that's what cameras do, Bev. That's what cameras do. Rectilinear lenses, that's what they do.
Cameras just take
pictures. And how do they do it, Bev?
They
take light from different angles and focus it to pixels. That's how they work.
You repurposed a camera.
I haven't repurposed it. Again, talk to Gleam about measuring stuff in photos.
Sounds like what you're doing with the auto level as well.
No.
Similar thing.
Measuring shit from photos is done. Yeah, it's done.
Just repurposing things. With
not repurposing. Go and ask Gleam if you can measure stuff in photos.
Dude, I don't give a shit about Gleam. He's not here.
I know, but you're not believing me. So
I'm just talking to you.
Go and ask on your own. Yeah, well, and I'm telling you, can measure stuff in photos.
I would have exactly the same argument with Gleam if Gleam wants to have it, right? You cannot represent an angle as a line.
Yes, you can. That's what it is. Cameras map angles to pixels. That's what they do. So the top of that red line is the angle to the top of the mountain, and the bottom of that red line is the angle to the bottom.
That's not how you represent an angle, though, is it?
That is the angular size of the mountain. Roohif. Yeah, you can keep saying it, Bev. It's getting tiring.
No, you keep saying yours. I mean, I think it's hilarious. Yeah,
because it works. Because it works.
Because you can draw lines on pictures.
Yeah, and you have to deny perspective for it not to work.
I'm not denying perspective. It's a picture.
Okay, then it works.
A picture will always have perspective in it, won't it?
Right.
I missed that.
Where is this in reality now?
Hey, Bev.
I just showed it to you in
reality.
Bev, couldn't you say that a 100-degree angle is a straight line?
A 100-degree?
No, sorry. 180-degree angle is a straight line. Couldn't you, theoretically
technically, Euclid says that an angle is the inclination of two straight lines to one another that are not in a straight line. So you couldn't technically call it a rectilinear angle. It's just the way people have made it. But yeah, there are 180 degrees on a straight line. Two of them, one on each side, making 360. But you couldn't really put a length to that line, could you? Like how long is a straight line?
They're all infinite.
Yeah, right. Roohif would try and put a length to it, though, right, Roohif?
Yeah, because on a photo you can do that.
Yeah.
That's what lenses do. They map angles to pixels. Therefore, you can represent angles with pixels.
Yeah. So how long would a line be in that picture that you've done for 180 degrees?
Well, the line I drew was half a degree, so obviously off the page, right?
Oh, so just multiply that by 360, right?
Yeah, so off the page, right?
Yeah, in a straight line though, right?
No, you'd lose the rectilinearity of the lens. That's a wide angle lens.
Okay, but you would be able to put a distance to a 180 degree angle using your method.
No. If you had a 180 degree lens, it would not be rectilinear, and you'd just be drawing a line across the whole thing. It wouldn't be linear.
This is great, Roohif. I love it.
Yeah. I'm giving you plenty of content for your bullshit, right?
But you're saying it, yeah.
Yeah. I assume you're going to put it up on your channel, so whatever.
Yeah, I probably would. Well, it's more for everybody to remember, right? An angle is able to be represented as a line.
On a photo, yes, because that's what a rectilinear lens does. Maps angles to pixels.
Making it so you can draw lines on pictures.
Yep.
Put rulers to them. Do you know, where did you get this from? Like, which...
Get what?
This method.
It's how cameras work, Bev.
Right, yeah, but
they
where
work.
did you get this particular method from?
I have no idea.
Did you just make it up
No
yourself, like you did with the auto level?
I don't.
Repurpose
I
it
just said I
with-
don't know where I got it from, but I know how cameras work, so that's where I got it from.
Okay.
From understanding cameras.
Yeah, so it is.
And lenses.
You've made this up yourself, Roohif.
I'm not the first person to
over
measure
the
shit in
years.
photographs.
Yeah, I know. You put
In fact,
rulers
there's a
on
word
pictures
for it.
and tried to justify it.
Photogrammetry. Here we go. Photogrammetry.
Yep. Yeah, but that isn't drawing lines on pictures, is it?
It's measuring shit in photos. Absolutely it is. Here we go. Photogrammetry is the science and technology of obtaining reliable information about physical objects and the environment through the process of recording, measuring, and interpreting photographic images.
Yep. But you're...
Photogrammetry, there you go.
What did you measure? The line?
I got the angular size of the mountain and represented it as pixels.
Where did you measure? Where did you measure that from?
What do you mean? What a measure? As in, I've got the height of the mountain and the distance of the mountain.
The measurement for the angle.
Yeah, someone has measured the height of the mountain, right? That's on Google, and I got the distance to it, probably also from Google. And therefore, I have an angular size.
Okay, so you found a picture on Google, I take it.
Somewhere, yep.
Yep. And then you got some
That's the world
measurements that somebody else has made from Google.
I would have measured it.
Translated that into an angle.
Yep.
Then you changed that angle into a straight line and then drew the straight line on the picture.
Yep. That's where 0 meters above sea level is.
And that is, what are we calling that? Are you calling that photogrammetry?
Yes.
Roohifs. Photogrammetry. Because I don't think that's not the real way of doing it, is it?
I think it is.
That's why we call it Roohifs.
Well, you can call it that. You can call Ranty's
I'm sure
historic
we can
as
call
well.
it with something better than that, though.
I'm sure you will call it something better.
Drawing
sure you
lines
will.
on pictures sounds much better.
Yeah.
Can you team up with Jose and get a crayon?
What?
Is that what you're going to do when Ranty goes up with his auto level? You're going to draw a line on that picture?
I've already calculated that and published my prediction, which you have not, because you're a coward.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Don Geo made a rudimentary prediction.
Yeah.
And he said on a relatively clear day that the crosshairs will be at the top of the mountain or slightly above the peak of the mountain.
Did he put a number on it at all?
No, of course. Just a rudimentary at the peak or slightly above the peak.
Yeah, he
Okay.
did. I can
Slightly,
remember
yeah.
that. When's Ranty going?
To be fair,
Have you guys made a prediction?
it's probably the best flat Earth prediction because it's the only one at the moment.
No, Lemon made the correct prediction for Blackpool Tower, 0.26.
Wow.
Oh, good for Lemon. Good for Lemon.
Yeah.
At least he had the balls
Yeah.
to do it. Good.
He did have the balls to do it.
So
He'll be wrong, but he did have the balls.
So how are you going to check this angle?
I've just made a render of what it will look like.
Okay. So you, what you're going to do is draw a line on a picture that Ranty takes with an auto level, and then
How about I put my picture in the chat?
Can you reverse engineer lines to angles?
Hang on. Is that the one?
Could you draw a picture, draw a line on a picture from an auto level, and then reverse engineer an angle out of it?
I can, yeah. It can be done.
But you know an auto level cannot measure vertical angles, but I suppose if you find some way of making a straight line into an angle, then you can draw a straight line on a picture and
There you
change
go.
it back
I've posted
again.
my prediction in the chat.
It's very new.
That's my prediction in the chat. What will Ranty see when he looks through the auto level?
Yeah.
What's your prediction, Bev?
Not that.
Not that. What is it though? So not that. So when it is that, will you accept that you're wrong?
Oh, you're saying it is that?
It will be that, yeah.
Wow. That's good for you. Go and get him to do it. You can then raise
when you guys make a
the
prediction,
prize of predicting.
Yeah.
Pictures.
When you guys have the balls to predict something.
Is he doing it at night?
No, he's not.
Why is it dark?
What?
That black bit at the back.
of all the content within that prediction, that's what he's
Well, I mean, what else is there in the prediction? What else is there? There's a straight water line, right?
The relationship between the crosshair and the peak of the mountain, as well as other things. But that will be what's being predicted essentially. And then you're focusing on the background.
On it. I'm just asking. Yeah, I was just asking because there are people that do surveying at nighttime, you know.
Yeah, but that's besides the point of what he's presenting.
Got people putting flashing pattern lights on the tripods and stuff, so they can do it. It can look fancy.
That's besides the point of what's being presented, and you're actively avoiding the why it's being presented.
That is the correct bio.
Hey, Roohif, can you make a version where instead of black, it's a nice baby blue? Perhaps
I'm sure I could.
Perhaps use different shaped clouds just in case it matches, but there's not clouds there too.
Yeah, I'll try that.
Honestly, Bev.
Yeah, just disingenuous, Bev. Like it's it becomes less fun when you're just totally disingenuous.
Yeah.
Where's this neon mountain? That's the cool thing.
What mountain? Oh, the neon mountain. All right.
Is that the Isle of Man in the background?
Yes, it is.
Wow. I'll show you a picture.
All right.
Do you like that?
What am I looking at?
An auto level.
Yeah. Pretty shitty day though, right? Can't see anything. What is it pointing at?
It's just a picture, isn't it?
Yeah, but is it pointed at something that's meant to be there, or is it just shit? Like pointing at a white fucking screen or something?
I don't know. Put a line on it.
Yeah, Roohif, I'm presenting a shit picture to prove some type of point.
Could you call that a prediction? Or would you just call that a picture?
Well, tell me what it is.
It's a
What's the
picture
prediction?
taken from an auto level.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the picture. That's reality, right? What's the prediction?
Wait, I don't know what you're talking. I'd say if it went down in altitude or elevation from where that was taken from, then the crosshair would adjust accordingly, and if you went higher, then the crosshair would adjust accordingly to that too, wouldn't it?
What a shit response. Here's a prediction for your picture that you provided, Bev. On a shit day, you're going to get shit quality in your shit picture.
Okay. Is Ranty going to go now then?
Have you made an actual prediction for a black hole tower?
Not going to give you an angle from a device that does not measure vertical angles.
Then
why?
Then don't give an angle.
Anybody?
Then don't give an angle. Draw
a
picture. Draw a picture then for where.
What about taking a picture?
Appear.
What about that? Is that not better?
Where will
something
Black
like
Hole
that.
Tower be?
Something like that.
Where will Blackpool
where is
Tower appear in that
Blackpool Tower?
photo?
Where?
So it's not going to be visible? Is that your answer?
Where indeed is Blackpool Tower in that picture?
That is the question.
Yeah, we don't want you
to avoid.
Where's the mountains 90 miles away in that picture?
The neon green mountains there. You said that reverse engineering is, you implied reverse engineering is either dishonest or a shit way to have predictions or explain things. So that's why right now what's being asked of you is a prediction that isn't reverse engineered. Wouldn't that be a fair question to ask?
Something like that. But
wouldn't that be a fair question to ask of you?
Put that bit a bit lower down to the bottom of the lens.
A bit lower down.
Yeah.
How far
How
down?
much is a bit?
Halfway down? 80% down? How far down from
I don't know.
where Roohifs crosshair is?
Curve it and put it near the bottom of the image somewhere.
No. Just I would say
where
screenshot
would
it
Blackpool
and then
Tower be?
place
I mean,
it-
I don't know.
I would say
course you don't know.
screenshot Roohifs image and then draw a nice pretty line of where you think that crosshair would be in relation to the mountain. It'd be that easy.
A nice pretty line. You go on, do it.
Well, you could draw an ugly line. I shouldn't have made that description.
Just give you
a line.
picture. I'll give you a picture.
No, a prediction for what would be seen.
Yeah, something like that. It would be seen something like that.
Oh, that's good.
So you're predicting not seeing Blackpool Tower? Is that your prediction?
That'd be a good prediction, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so when Blackpool Tower is seen, will you say that you were wrong?
If you get us the picture, go get Ranty and
I'm
get
asking
him
you, when
to
we
show
do
us the
get it,
picture of Blackpool Tower. And
when it is in there, will you accept that you're wrong?
yeah, if you show me a picture of Blackpool Tower, I'll go, brilliant, that's nice. Yeah, that's a picture of Blackpool Tower.
So your prediction was wrong.
My prediction is that picture. Now, you go and get Ranty to do his little dance up to Winter Hill and take his picture. Then you can come back and tell me whether I'm right or wrong.
Right, so your prediction is that you won't see Blackpool Tower.
Or what you can do is keep dancing like this and prove me right that Ranty will not go there.
Ev wants to reverse engineer. The thing that he's against is what he wants to do. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. You think I'm the one dancing, but that's hilarious.
You damn Globers reverse engineering everything. Oh, well, give us a prediction then. No, I'm going to wait for it to come out, and I'll reverse engineer.
I've told you. I've been there with a camera.
That's great, man. Have you done it with an army level? Have you
been there? Have you been there?
In the mountain?
Have you been there?
Awesome.
So your prediction is based on what?
We're just waiting for a flat Earth prediction.
What is your prediction? What's your prediction based on?
And then you derive a prediction. It'd be nice.
What's your prediction based on? What's your prediction based on?
A million times.
What? I'm not talking to you now, Roohif. Your mate.
It's the same. It's the same response that I gave you either last night or a couple nights ago. It's based on the globe model. It'll be based on the geometry as well as standard refraction.
Okay, so have you worked out that geometry at all?
Yes, it's not that difficult, Bev.
Okay. Parallel lines?
Parallel lines for what?
Tomato sauce.
For the horizontal.
What parallel lines?
For the horizontal.
In reference to the horizontal. What do you mean parallel?
Well, I mean your geometry that you used. When you used geometry to predict what you were going to see, did you use parallel lines?
Why would I use parallel lines? I'm going to use a horizontal, and then I'll establish what degree I would be off from mountains that are a particular height at a particular distance.
What would you be measuring that degree from and to?
From the horizontal that I would establish at a particular observation height.
Yep. And then to?
Holy shit, man.
Top of Blackpool Tower, Bev.
To the top of Blackpool Tower.
Yeah, or the top of
to a number of landmarks. Yes.
Okay, brilliant.
You
so that's
it could
what
be done
you did,
for
then.
It could be done for the windmills as well if you want to keep going with other landmarks.
Your prediction is based purely on geometry.
Geometry and standard refraction.
And, that would be globe model geometry, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Are these honest questions?
Yeah.
No.
Why, did that not sound like a question, an honest question?
I think those questions didn't even have to be asked. To be honest.
I'm making my prediction on experience because I've been there. I've looked out with the camera P1000. I've also got experience of an auto level, a 32 times scope auto level, and looking at that out of distance. And I've also got experience of actually using the level for the job that it's meant to be done.
That's fantastic.
Multiple levels.
Sounds like you would be the perfect person to make an accurate prediction, right?
Which I have.
Yeah.
I've given you a picture. Much better prediction than anybody else has ever give you.
That's not a prediction. You gave a shit picture on a shit day.
That's
not a prediction, Bev.
That's a prediction. What the picture? If you can get Ranty to the top of Winter Hill, that's a prediction of the type of picture
slimy,
Ranty
Bev.
will give you.
You're so slimy because you tout around this experience and knowledge. Oh, I've done these things with this and blah blah blah. You can't even make a legitimate prediction. Your experience and knowledge means fuck all if you're unable to make a prediction using these tools that you quote unquote have so much experience with.
I think you just got nailed, Bev.
I'll say it again, dude.
I don't need to.
If you can get Ranty to do it, that is the prediction that I say you will get.
Bev, if
when
I go
Ranty
to a
gives you a picture, so go and get Ranty to do it.
If I go to a mechanic and he says that he has tons of experience working on my particular car, and then I say I have this problem, can you let me know what you think it is? And he says, no, I can't. I can't.
What's the mechanic route here? What the fuck is this?
I've got all this experience on that car, and I've done so much work, and I've got years of
knowledge.
Shown
you a picture. For fuck's sake.
I couldn't troubleshoot it. I couldn't tell you what that problem is. I couldn't do that. You'd be a shit mechanic, right? So all of your experience that you tout around, being unable to make a prediction makes you a shit person or a shit knowledge on that topic.
Keep going, Bio. I've given you multiple predictions.
Right.
Multiple predictions.
None of them are honest, Bev. None of them are honest.
What do you mean they're honest?
Because you are not honest.
Well, I predict Ranty won't go. He's not gone there yet. He's meant to have been there and done it, but he's not doing it. So he is, like me, I'm right on that one. The second one is there's an actual picture that you can put it Ranty's one next to the one I've just give you and see, aren't they? Where you'll be able to definitely tell whether they are similar or not.
Bev, what if
we know you're terrified, Bev.
What if Ranty
go and get Ranty to do it? Go on.
What if Ranty went there?
Make a prediction.
What if Ranty went there at, let's say, 10 a.m. on a day and then DM'd you or tagged you somewhere and said, look, here's a picture of me at this location with an auto level. Will you then make a legitimate, honest prediction, or you still won't?
Is that giving you a picture of what he might see, something like? Is that not a good enough prediction for you?
Response to my very specific question. That was a great response.
Oh, or a prediction that you can't measure an angle with an auto level. That's another one. That's a good one.
What will he see through the auto level? I don't care whether you think you can measure an angle. What will he see?
There is a picture.
Okay, I guarantee he will see Blackpool Tower. So your prediction's wrong.
Okay.
Do you agree it's wrong?
Well, get Ranty to do it.
Make a prediction.
Go and get Ranty. There's a prediction.
So reverse engineer
sake,
it. With all of my knowledge and experience.
What the hell are you doing?
So I can reverse engineer it.
White Knight in Bioduel and Roohifs.
No one's white knighting anyone. You're being called out, Bev, because you always bring up all of your experience. If you're unable to make a prediction with the tools that you supposedly have years of knowledge with, you're a shit person using that equipment. If you're unable to make predictions with that equipment, what are you doing?
There you go. I'll put it in there again. I predict Ranty will see something like that.
Yeah, you know what the prediction is meant to be, Bev. Please be honest.
I mean, to me, it just shows that you can just use the globe model for accurate predictions.
All of you guys are pooing yourself because you don't think Ranty's going to do it. Who else can you get to do it? Are you going to get somebody else? Give somebody else some money? I think you should all get auto levels and go up mountains.
Again, the honesty, Bev. You know full well that he will go and do it as soon as someone
floods of
makes a
pictures
prediction.
of Globers coming out there now with getting pictures of auto levels up mountains.
There's been like 3 or 4 Globers that have made the same prediction. Why is that? Because we're not fucking terrified like you.
If your predictions are always right, why does the surveying industry exist? You could just predict.
Stupid question.
Oh yeah.
You know that these predictions are made with these predictions are made with surveying information, right, Jerry? It's not that we have unknown heights or unknown distances. That we have these values because the surveys are done, and we can make predictions with those values. It's not the
You
other way
don't-
around.
So you don't have to measure.
You obviously do have to measure.
So what's the use of your prediction?
It's a flat earther's position that we can use our eyeballs. No, the globe earth position is that you would use technical equipment to make fine measurements.
So then what good are your predictions if you're still going to have to check them against reality?
Because we're using the information within surveys, such as the elevation of a mountain, as well as the distance from city to city, from a mountain to mountain. We're using all of this information from surveys, using the globe model to make a prediction.
My prediction is not from the flat Earth. My prediction comes from my experience.
Which means fuck all if you're not going to make a prediction.
Yeah, and Jerry, you said earlier that you can look at a picture and say that it's flat. So why do we use surveyors? Because I mean, you can just look at a mountain and say, yeah, that's flat.
No, you gave me a picture and said, here, just ignore that flat land. Just tell me the reason why you can't see the mountain.
So you know it's flat without surveying. How do you know that it's flat from a picture?
No, you gave me evidence of Earth curve, but then the ground turned out to be flat. And then you said, no.
How do you know that it's flat?
Just
How do you know that
ignore
it's flat?
Yeah,
How do you know that?
Tell me why you can't see the mountain.
You just said it turned out to be flat. How can you make that statement by just looking?
Well, you showed me that. That's what I see.
Okay, so why do we need surveyors? Because everything is flat. I mean, there's no need for them.
No, you guys are saying we don't need surveyors because you could just predict.
No, that's what you're saying. You're just looking at something and say, oh, flat.
No, you're saying you could just predict.
Roohifs inventing a whole new way to do things.
Exactly.
He's not. He clearly
Roohif
clearly gave you the name. He clearly gave you I guess you could say the scientific name, the accepted name for the process in which he was doing things. He clearly gave you the name for it. It's not a new concept. It's not a thing that he just made up.
He's mistaken
People do this.
angular size and actually changed that into a dimensional one line.
How many dimensions?
Because he's confused this. He keeps saying pixels as well, and as though that's got anything to do with it.
Hold on,
but
the angular size of something.
Lenses convert angles to pixels. What?
I'm sorry. I thought that was an important question. The angular value of an object. How many dimensions is that?
1.
Oh shit, Bev, did you hear that? Do you disagree?
An angle is the inclination of one straight line to another.
The angular size.
The angle. The size of the angle. Yes.
Think about the words, because I know you're going to go to a script and it's going to be off topic, but listen to my words very carefully. The angular size, that value of an object, how many dimensions is required for the angular size of an object?
The size of an angle. Or are you like Roohif? Are you mistaking an angular size and changing that into a height or a distance or something? Is that what you're doing?
It would be an in-frame height, sure.
Height, like a vertical height.
How many dimensions?
Like vertical height? What do you say?
Come on now. So how many dimensions?
Where is this triangle? The other side of the angle. Is it a vertical height or something? I don't know.
Specific and basic question. And either you don't understand it, which would be weird, or you do understand it and you know the implication and you avoid answering. It's one of those two, Bev. It's a very simple question.
This angle that you're going to make into a distance, a height. Is it vertical, that line at the other end, or
it's almost like pulling teeth?
Roohif, what is it?
It is, isn't it?
It is vertical. The line at the opposite side to the angle, Roohif, is it vertical or is that the
near enough to it? It's about tilted about 4 degrees in the photo that we're looking at.
That red line.
The mountain is tilted about 4 degrees.
Yeah, but the red line that we're
I didn't take
changing
tilt into account, no.
the
I
angular
didn't take tilt into
distance.
account for that.
So that would be vertical or not?
Near enough to it. It'll be tilted by 4 degrees, but I'm not assuming the...
I'm just trying to imagine this triangle or this angle size, right?
Yeah. So that the triangle is from the observer to the top of the mountain, from the observer to the bottom of the mountain, and then that line from the top to the bottom.
But that top to the bottom,
yes.
Would that make the bottom edge of the triangle shorter and the top longer?
Do you mean because it's tilted back, or what are you getting at?
You're changing an angle into the size of the opposite side of the angle. Line.
Because they're equivalent in the photo.
But what's the relationship of the bottom edge of the triangle to the top edge? I thought it might be an isosceles, but it doesn't sound like it, does it?
It is, yeah.
It's an
in
isosceles.
that photo, I've used an isosceles, yes.
Oh, right.
I haven't incorporated tilt into it.
But in reality,
it would make it still very close.
Yeah. Interesting concept to draw it out, right?
Well, now you've learned about the age-old art of photogrammetry now, Bev. Well done. You got there.
How do you get the angle?
It's the angular size of the mountain. It has a height and a distance.
Yeah, but where do you measure that angle?
It is the angle because we know the height and the distance. You know the relationship between the object's height and its distance.
How do you know the height of the mountain?
Because it's been fucking measured, Bev. Why are you asking such dishonest questions?
Vertical height?
Yes, above sea level.
And the distance would be a horizontal distance, right?
Near enough to it, yes.
If you enjoyed the content, please support On the Level and future projects. Membership subscriptions available now, or come and get involved at Next Level Discord server. Thank you.
My prediction is, Ranty, that with your 32 scope up the mountain, what you're going to see is a blur. That's my prediction. You're not going to have clarity to what you want to look. That's my prediction, Ranty.
That could be taken 2 different ways. I'm sorry. It can be. And I love the other one I'm thinking of.
My prediction is Ranty has a couple beers, gets drunk, eats a hamburger, and falls asleep.
Well, that was my first thing, but now we're getting serious. We're actually, I said first he's not going to do it. Like Rumpus, if you're listening. But he wants a prediction, I gave him one. You will not have clarity to view what you want to view, Ranty. That's my prediction.
Oh, I'll make a prediction for Ranty. Double woke Ranty, this is for you. I bet you'll see the color blue, mother effer. I'm sorry. He'll know what I mean.
So now he has no more excuses.
So which moon are you sending them up? Anyone in particular?
Winter Hill.
Where's that?
Northwest.
Ah. That's funny. I'm from Newcastle, but I've actually lived in Cumbria for the past 10 years.
Nice.
Aye.
Well, it's the one with the big radio mast on, but I don't think you'd see it from Cumbria.
No. Probably not. I haven't heard of it like that. Hellfire.
There you go. There you go. Something like that.
Oh.
That's what he's going to see, kind of like.
That's funky, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Oh, way. Good luck.
There's my prediction staring at you, Bubba.
It's like abominable snowmen drinking tea atop the roof of a recycling plant, singing kids' nursery rhymes, using 80s love ballads as backing music.
Hey Bev, when did you ever provide those measurements of points that are 90 degrees to plumb being coplanar?
The measurement of 90 degrees.
That doesn't prove
right
that
angle.
the line. That doesn't prove that those lines are parallel if you have not established that the 2 points that they are 90 degrees to are coplanar.
Right, here we go. Do you know
No, Bev,
all
Bev, I want you to respond to that
perpendiculars to a plane will be
No,
parallel?
Bev, how did you know that they are coplanar? I'm asking you a specific question.
The horizontal. If you establish a
How
horizontal
do you
plane,
know they're coplanar?
if you establish a horizontal plane, then all perpendiculars to that plane will be parallel, provable.
And how did you show that those are coplanar?
The 90 degrees.
No, you didn't.
What you don't?
You can put 90.
Do you not
you
know
can
what
put
90 degrees is?
to 2 points. You can take two
measurement.
two lines and
Call
put
it
them
a
90
right
degrees
angle.
to 2 points.
Yep.
If you don't show that those 2 points are coplanar, then
What
you
2
can't make any
points? What are
claims
you
about
talking
the
about?
lines being parallel.
Well, I'm struggling to understand what you're talking
Oh,
about.
I know
Well,
you are. Obviously.
So you talking about a horizontal plane being a horizontal plane?
No, Bev, I'm trying to show you that your points that you're measuring 90 degrees to, you've not established as coplanar.
You don't
Therefore, you can't
measure
90
90 degrees to a point. Do you?
So, Bev,
you don't.
how do you know that those points are coplanar?
Don't measure 90 degrees to a point, do you?
Okay. How do you know that those are coplanar?
What, the 2 points on a plane?
Come on, Bev.
2 points on a plane.
How do you know that you're just
How do you
claiming
know
planes?
they're 2 points
Bev.
on a plane? Because they're 2
Exactly.
points
That's
on a
what I'm
plane.
trying to tell you. Asking you, what are your measurements so that they are coplanar?
How do you know they're not coplanar?
Because the plumb lines are
This
parallel.
is pretty bad. This, Arsene.
You bet. Because the plumb lines are not parallel. I've already shown you that.
So if you establish a horizontal plane, you know what a horizontal plane is, right?
Yeah, that would mean that all the points on it are coplanar.
Well, it just would be a horizontal plane, a plane within the.
Bev, you don't even know the basics of geometry. That's obvious,
Do you know what a plane is, RC?
Yes, it's a set of infinite points that are coplanar.
It's a plane. It's a two-dimensional conceptual surface.
Oh my gosh, Bev, why are you just repeating what I just told you in more words and less precision?
RC, if you're going to continue down this path of tactics, you're going to be.
It's not a tactic.
It is. You're pretty
You are
sad
cutting
and
off
bad
and
at
not
it.
letting him finish ever. Not
All right,
one sentence.
I'll go on mute. Go
Since
ahead,
the
Jeff.
very, and you're cutting me off now. So since the very beginning, his very first statement, you cut off. So relax.
It's like go on mute or constantly interrupt. Can we have a middle ground somewhere? You don't have to go on mute, but you don't have to constantly interrupt. There are others. It's like flat and ball. If it's not flat, it's a ball.
He's getting triggered because the only evidence he's got is from a YouTube video. When all of the geometric evidence just go to show that all verticals are perpendicular to a horizontal plane, therefore all perpendiculars to the plane, as provable within geometry, will be parallel. You just have to establish a horizontal plane.
And you have not established that they are coplanar points or lines. Therefore, you have not established that it is a horizontal coplanar reference point that we're looking at. I've shown you the measurements that show they are not coplanar points. Therefore, we are not looking at parallel. We're not looking at a flat surface. We're not looking at a horizontal surface. We're actually looking at non-parallel plumb lines.
But
can I say something real quick on that, Bev? Just so when you're to measure down, right? What is your unit of measurement, right? Like, what is the unit of measurement of down, so that we know what units we're measuring here when you measure down?
Vectors and degrees.
Okay, so down would be
0 degrees.
Okay, so if we go somewhere, or if there's a claim that down, somebody's using down, right? But it's a 90 degrees horizontal. We could be like, that's not down, because down is 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if down is ever not down, then it's not down.
Good job.
Okay, so when you say down over here is not down, that's where we have issues.
I have a very simple thing that I'm calling out for you all. It's that those downs are not parallel to each other. No. And I've shown you that with measurements. Now, here's what I want. Bev is claiming that, no, they are parallel. I said, Bev, show me the measurements that they're parallel. And Bev says, no, I don't have those. I just have another claim that what I'm measuring right now is truly 90 degrees, and those 90-degree points or lines are coplanar in themselves. And I'm like, no. You don't get to just assume that. You have to show me your measurements of that.
You said you've measured one of those plums as not down.
No, that's not what I said. I said that those two plumb lines are not parallel. I was real specific about that.
Okay, hold on. But you said the measurement of down is 0. So now if one of these down, if down is 0, and then you have another quote where I'm putting air quotes up, down somewhere else, and you measure that down and it's not 0, then it's not down.
Good job.
Okay, great. So when we have down here 0 and a down over there and it's not 0, you measured that down incorrectly. The one that
what I did was I showed you that those two down lines are not parallel. That's all I showed you.
Well, if you have 0, if you geometrically, because that's what you're doing, have a 0, hang on. If you have a 0 line and then move 8 feet over another 0 line, they're going to be parallel.
No, you have to show that they're parallel.
But we hold on. Okay.
You have to show that they are parallel. I have
before we show what's
parallel.
Do you understand that
show that they are parallel? I said, Bev, show me that they're parallel.
Before we show that's what's parallel, we have to agree what is parallel. And I am saying that when you have two lines with no deviation, such as two lines that have 0 angle change, they'll be parallel.
Good job.
Okay, great. So now when you have down, which is a 0 angle and 0 angle change, and then you have a down.
You almost got.
RC, why are you clipping? Every time someone speaks, you clip.
He keeps asking me a question. Chill out, Rookie. Huh?
Are you serious?
Yeah, he keeps asking
in the middle. So you choose to answer during the middle of his talking?
You want him to ask me 3 questions?
I'm not even talking as a mod here. I'm talking as an audience member. I'm trying to hear both sides. And you're clipping me. You're telling me to.
Huh?
Go ahead, Nate.
Okay, now I'm going to act as a mod.
I'm just say the whole so we agree parallel
He's
would be
muted.
Okay, so I mean it's a simple point. If we agree that two lines with no angle deviation, right? You have one line going one way and the other, and neither of them deviate, they'll be parallel. Down is and then down is going to be a straight line, and then if you move, you're just going to make another straight line. So that those would be parallel.
I'm going to take him off of mute, but just be aware if he's still listening, everyone else, what he's doing and what others are doing is not tolerated here. We know this. We've had great conversations before RC came in. No clipping, just flow, normal human being conversation. He comes. I don't know if he's the variable or if it's just we're treating him different, but let's all pay attention to that, and hopefully he can abide by the rules too. So let's all do it.
Very good.
Sure. Which of the 5 questions would you like to answer?
How can, I guess it's how can down not be down somewhere else? If down is 0 change and 0 change, they would be two lines parallel. So
Yeah,
how could you
because
measure a difference?
Yeah, because down is always measured by the force acting on the plumb line, and those forces acting on the plumb line create plumb lines that are not parallel.
All right, see, that's where, so now it's like down is not this, you've changed what down is in my, so now down is not so much a direction, you know, an unchanging up and down, right? Where the vertical, it's this to the center. It's a circle now. Down is now a circle.
Good job.
What? How can down be a circle, dude?
Because it's based on the forces acting on it.
That's their model. And their model.
Yeah, that's.
I'm glad, 90, that you now got to the whole point, and that we can now measure and test this point to see are plumb lines parallel, and indeed down is based on the forces acting on this plumb line, and where I have been able to show that yes, down is based on the forces acting on this plumb line, and these forces do not create plumb lines that are parallel. Bev says no, they are parallel. And I said, okay, show me the measurements of it. Show me that these lines have all points on them that are equidistant. He can't show me that because I've shown him that the points on these lines are not equidistant. Okay, they're not parallel. This is not hard.
How far do you have to go before down is different from another down?
What do you mean?
Feeling pretty upside down.
How far do I go? If I go 100 feet, is it a different down?
I mean, if you take any two plumb lines where the measurement of the distances on those points on the plumb line, you can actually perceive that distance. Sure. So, like, you probably couldn't do, you probably don't have good enough equipment to do it at 3 feet. But if you want to do it at like 150, 200 feet, 300 feet, yeah, you probably have equipment that's good enough to be able to measure that.
So you don't think that when down becomes horizontal, you don't think there's some kind of like maybe contradiction there or
when down becomes horizontal? What are you talking about?
Can I just ask another question? So when they build a building, right? Let's say they're going to build a building and let's say it's like 400 feet long. That's going to be an absolutely level surface, correct?
When they build a building, is it going to be an absolute level surface?
They're going to survey it, right? They're going to survey it. They're going to make sure the elevations are the same. And so when they build, like, let's just say a 400-foot concrete slab, that's going to be absolutely level, correct?
Yeah, and they do that based on the forces acting on each of the corners.
No, they would do that with surveying, right? So now, if I go to one end of that building and I use my plumb bob, and I go to the other end of the building, you're saying those will be two different plumbs.
No, I said that those plumbs are not going to be parallel. I've said that over and over again.
Okay, yes. So they'll have different angles.
The plumb lines are not parallel. I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself.
When you measure the plumb lines at the place where you drop the plumb lines, they're both 0, right?
Yep.
And then you only get deviation when you try to measure the far plumb line visually from a distance away, right?
Say that again.
So when you measure, the only way you get the not 0, right, the straight up and down, the only time you get deviation in down is not in the down where you're at, but in a down established a distance away from you, and you measure it visually.
Yes, good job. That's what it would mean to say that these plumb lines are not parallel. Thank you.
So then you're saying that if I build a wall at one end of the building, plumb, and then I build a wall at the other end of the building, plumb, they won't be parallel.
No.
Liar.
Okay.
Well, I think
I showed you the evidence and the measurements that I'm right.
So your measurements are visual. That's why I was trying to so that's what makes me think that you're getting some kind of visual disturbance on your measurement. Like your measurement is going through the filter of visualization, which is skewing it slightly to make your down not down. Because when you get closer and you get right up on it, it's down perfectly. The only
So
time
I'm
you
go-
get any deviation is when you start walking away and looking at it.
So I'm going to visually clip the forces acting on my plumb line. No, I don't think so, dude.
No, I would just think you should like if I was going to measure a board and I was right close to the board so I could see it perfectly and I got 4 inches and then I walked 100 feet away and measured it and got 4.5, I'd be like, did that board just? I would go closer and get the measurement and then use that. That's just me. That's what I would do.
I'm curious, Meisty, wouldn't you notice if you were trying to establish plumb and it wasn't 90 degree to your level surface?
Yeah, that's what
Don't you think
surveyors
that
can
would
do.
be noticeable. I'm not
Yeah,
talking
surveyors
about a
do that all the
surveyor.
time.
I'm talking about a construction person who's building something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, because we've established they can make a level surface, correct?
No shit. Yeah.
So then you don't think that they would notice if they're at one end of the building and they established plumb, and then they went to another end of the building and established plumb, and it was a different angle? You don't think that would be noticeable?
Sure, if it's big enough.
It's a weight and a
how big?
It's a weight and a piece of string, dude.
I mean,
hang on. I want to hold you to that. How big? How long would a building and how tall of a wall would we have to measure the bottom and top to notice a difference?
Yeah, probably typically 500-600 feet. You're going to start getting like to structural engineering differences that mean anything in construction. So if you get a 500-600 foot long building, but the best ones to see are structures that are like 2,000 feet, 4,000 feet long. You can definitely those get to be significant structural differences.
Okay, so you're giving me significant. So give me a value, quantify it. Because I have 600 foot buildings. I have 2,000 foot buildings that I've erected myself. I can go measure the bottom and the top.
Ooh.
Somebody's hot mic.
Yeah, that's bad. Who's that?
Yeah, I quantify. Yeah,
What's making the weight?
I quantified that for you, and oh my gosh, Ricky,
What's making the weight?
Oh my god,
What's making the weight?
Hang on.
His question.
Yeah.
What's making the weight deviate?
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's a different question. Let him answer the first one. So what's the measurements?
Yeah, so that's what I provided in the main surveyor's video that I showed you. If you want to see the exact ones,
Angles.
I provided those in there.
Right.
No, that's an angle measurement. I'm talking about a horizontal measurement, vertical. I can measure the distance of the wall.
Distance measurement. Yeah.
Distance, distance from the bottom and distance at the top. They should be longer at the top, right?
Yeah.
So over 600 foot or 2,000 foot, it would make a difference how tall the walls were too, right?
Yeah, you're probably going to get about about a 600 foot building. You might get about an inch of difference between the bottom and the top.
Of how tall of a wall? A 1 foot wall?
Probably about on a 130 foot wall.
130 foot tall wall.
Yep.
An inch.
You would get 1 inch.
Yep.
Separation.
And you've measured this.
No, we did a smaller scale of it with main surveyor.
So you haven't measured that. 600 foot, 130 foot walls. 1 inch difference.
Here, I'll post it for you here, Ricky.
So what's making the weight? What's making the weight deviate?
One thing at a time. Let me get this
bigger
up here for
square
Ricky,
footage higher
you
up
don't
in
have
the
to
towers.
post the main surveyor's video. It's a piece of crap. I've already seen it.
Yep.
I don't
Okay, so
trust the main surveyor.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, have you done it?
We can't
Ricky,
just
your
ask
personal
a straight.
incredulity doesn't mean
We can't
anything.
just ask a straight question and get a straight answer. Is that what you're saying, RC Meisty?
No, I'm trying to tell Rakia that his personal incredulity about the actual measurements that are
Don't be
viewed
silly.
doesn't mean anything.
No, we've
How
debunked
can I
it.
measure it?
He's talking shite. Everybody knows that guy from Maine is talking shite. Even George has said he doesn't know how to set his tools up. He's made a video about it. So yes, he's talking shite. That's a rubbish video. Have you got anything else?
George made a video on the main surveyor about how the main surveyor doesn't know how to set his tools up. That's hilarious.
It was that chat me and George had over at Brandon's.
All right,
And,
there you go.
And you sure you still want to use this guy, RC?
That's not true what you just said. I was there when George was
it's not
talking to you,
Yeah.
and he didn't say that he doesn't know how to set his
He
tools
does.
up.
That's
He
what he
doesn't know
said.
how to calibrate them.
No,
It
he
is
said
different.
he had two different. He had an auto level next to a theodolite, and they were both at the same height. And he was looking out, and the crosshairs were in different positions.
Oh, I remember that one.
George said that the main surveyor doesn't know how to set his tools up.
He had two different
Yeah.
He had
He
two
had the
different
image-
horizontals at the same. My bad. Go ahead, Buster.
No, I was just gonna say he had the image flipped and didn't know how to get it flipped back around.
Well, that also, but he mentioned in his own video that he knows the horizontal crosshairs aren't in the same position, but it doesn't matter as long as they're above the distant object. So he admitted himself that even though his equipment was set up at the same height, the horizontal crosshairs were at different heights in the distance.
Yeah.
It's weird.
He's not a real surveyor, that guy that you're
That's incorrect,
choosing
Bev,
to
but,
bring
like,
all of this.
Yeah, Bev,
information
you just got caught lying about what was said.
No,
No, he didn't.
no, I
he
did
didn't.
not.
No, he did not. I heard it. I heard it too.
Yeah,
and
I know, Rakia. You lying about what?
Don't,
I'm not-
RC,
you're telling
don't
me
do
I'm lying.
this.
We're here to hear what was
Don't do this, RC.
You didn't hear it. How do you know?
Okay. RC, we have two different. We have the main surveyor having two different tools set up with two different horizontals, but they're at the same height. Clearly, one of them's not right. So what is
In the video
this guy?
that you posted, RC.
Does this guy
in
even
the
know?
video that you posted?
I'm hesitant to. I'm wondering if this guy even knows what he's doing at this point.
All right, your incredulity about it doesn't.
Not incredulity.
Yeah, no, it's right. So your
Incredulity.
incredulity.
The guy has two
doesn't
different
discount
horizontals
the
at the same
fact
height.
that plumb
Alright.
lines are not parallel. And
You posted the video,
Jeremy,
RC.
Jeremy, can I have a go after Akia too? Because my question really nails it to the wall. If you give me a chance.
Yeah, you can go after me. I'll be short. You just posted a video, RC, of what you call a surveyor setting up two different tools with crosshairs at two different levels in the distance. The video that you posted.
This guy does not know how to make a horizontal.
Yeah, it's weird.
This guy does not know how to make a horizontal. That's not my incredulity. That's his. That's him not knowing how to set a horizontal, since clearly he has two different horizontals at the same height. One of them's obviously wrong. Not my incredulity. His not knowing how to use his tools is more like what I would say.
Okay, so we've got the horizontal. Now, how we get the vertical is a weight dangling from a piece of string in free space. So what's making it deviate, RC Meisty? It's in free space. It's not even being obstructed or hindered by anything. It's a weight dangling in the air.
And that's not even how he set it up. Auto levels use other ways like that aren't accurate. That's another reason they're only used over a short distance. So that inaccuracy in the plumb doesn't take effect over a long distance. I don't know why y'all don't ever mention that.
Hang on, Dave. You can only read the story pole at a certain distance. The writing on the story pole can only be read
I agree.
so far.
But you can read it at 1,000 feet, but your measurements are going to get further and further off due to a lot of different reasons. One being that your plumb is not accurate in the way that the auto level and theodolite set it up. You're using basically a bubble level on one and then a mechanical device inside that gives you a plumb that is pretty accurate, but not totally accurate like a weight on a string would be. It has plus or minus errors in it, and the further you try and measure distance-wise, the more inaccurate your measurement is going to be. That's never mentioned.
He's like steel frame care homes.
But it's a globe.
And then since he's going quiet, I'll continue. And then the longer your measurements are, your inaccuracy in reading the thickness of the crosshair over distance and the atmospheric conditions, the optical effects that you get in the atmosphere over distance, human error, equipment error, you start adding all those up, and it gets to be beyond the the differential in the measurement itself.
Yeah,
the plus or
RC.
minus error is above and below the actual deviation in the measurement. That's why you don't measure long distance with them.
Yeah, RC left because they
we know
realized
that
that they were talking absolute nonsense about my incredulity when this guy doesn't know how to set a horizontal. That's just, that's
And he's
just dumb.
referring to the main surveyor who is obviously in the video, the very video that he posted, doesn't know what he's doing with the tools he's using.
Yeah, he should watch the Illinois surveyor.
And RC Meisty's never showed us his water level calibration machine either that he's claimed he has.
We should at least get a picture of it, or at least how to use it, right? If he doesn't have any more, that's one thing, but how it was used to calibrate a water level would be good enough for me.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. I've checked my town. I wanted to get my water level calibrated, but every time I call someone, they've never heard of it.
Yeah, the calibration center near me had never heard of it either.
I mean, I don't think you guys are looking hard enough, personally.
Well, maybe
How
if
do you
RC could
calibrate
provide a model or something, we could look it up and maybe find someone that knows anything about it. What about it, RC?
He bailed.
We're done with this guy.
We realized
But he's
that
not-
RC realized that we realized that they didn't know what they were talking about, so we left.
I was done with RC when he said he could calibrate the water level.
So Funk, maybe you could answer then. If I have a 2,000-foot slab, right? We know that they're going to build that
slab.
Sure, the base of a building, right?
Oh, okay.
Right, and we know that that's going to be level at one end of the building, right? When somebody hangs a plumb bob, right? It's going to be at a different angle than somebody at the other end of the building hanging a plumb bob.
Can you prove that?
People that build
Can
things
you
are going
prove
to notice
claim?
not plumb.
Can you prove that?
It won't be.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Hello?
You gotta
Can you
calm
prove
down, man.
that claim? Hello?
Rob, he's asking a question, man. You gotta calm down.
Well, no. He made a statement that the two plumb bobs were not parallel.
Yeah, but he doesn't believe that. He's asking the other guy how to prove that. He's asking your question. To the other guy.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
I'll
go on mute.
I don't. Well, depending on what you're going to use the building, I don't think it probably doesn't matter if it's a slight a curvature on the building.
Where would it be measured? Question.
But if you're going to measure it, then you
It's
would
horizontal.
use the tools which.
Hold on. The slab that is, the slab that was spoke about. That's
Yeah.
concrete, and that's absolutely horizontal. Yeah, a straight line.
I wouldn't make that strong claim over a really long distance.
There you go.
No, I mean, would you use that?
How good you are.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, a slab of concrete, it's pretty rough, I would say. Wouldn't make a claim that it would be over 600 meters. It would be as straight as within a few millimeters. There is some wiggle room there, right?
Oh yeah, but what if the surveyor?
Is there no wiggle room at all?
Yeah, there's some wiggle room, and you know how you've missed that wiggle room? When it rains on it and a little slight puddle of water is on one side and not the other, or in one area, water will tell you that, right? Where it's horizontal and where it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you agree that
agree.
water is horizontal?
It's always.
Yes, of course, it will align
Welcome
itself.
to Flat Earth.
It doesn't prove flat Earth, though, but it's. I would say it's over a long distance. I would say what you would use for it, depending on what you want to use the building for.
Oh, hold on, 2 seconds.
Or the internal
same
building.
That water horizon will
if
rise
the
above
surveyor
the crosshair. I've seen
put
that plenty of times.
like a marker every 100 meters for you, and you
Yeah.
made sure your concrete was level with the top of that. Would that be alright?
Yeah, they could put a marker every 100 meters. Sure.
Just
And then it'd be
precision,
horizontal, yeah.
precision and
They
accuracy.
would have to do that, right?
Yeah, and then over. Yeah,
I
then
would
over
probably
1
start in
mile, if it dropped 8 inches, we'd give you a glove. but it
Let me
doesn't. It stays horizontal.
Let me give you some real world experience from this morning, right? I
I'm
set
not sure
a
how much
slab.
drop it is after.
You wanna hear a real world example that happened this morning about an hour ago?
Mm-hmm.
I squared a slab, okay? The architect gave us the diagonal that you would take from each corner of that squared slab to make sure it's squared. If I'm off by any amount, it means my slab is not squared, right? So we took all our measurements, you know,
We take
did
cross
our
measurements.
triangulation, did our cross section, and it came out exactly to his calculations. Now you're telling me that if I go up 130 feet, that diagonal is going to be off an inch? No way.
It depends on how precise you're building. And
it depends on how plumb you make those walls, sir. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all we go by. There's no difference.
But how large is the building, right?
It's geometry.
You could do a small building and go really tall. It doesn't matter.
But you have to go really tall. You have to go really fucking tall.
It's
That's
exact.
just your theory. It doesn't ever happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how you can't use this as an example if this doesn't prove anything anyway.
Yes, it does when you go out and measure.
It doesn't, because we said it's going to be really small, so small that it doesn't matter
don't be
for
silly.
a building.
Don't be
right?
silly.
That's not what y'all said.
You've got two.
Like a
You've got
5200
two
square meter.
Well, I haven't calculated it, but I don't think it matters for building a. Like
You've
if you
got
have a
two-
building which is 50 meters long, I don't think it matters if it's 100 meters tall.
You've
That
got
much.
two beautiful intersecting points. You've got a horizontal and a vertical. A straight line never stops being a straight line. Okay? And if you build to that as accurately and precisely as you possibly can, you're going to have a level, straight building. That's just all there is to it. Every engineer knows this.
It's only you're assuming that level is straight.
Assuming nothing. This is what they do. This is real world physics.
I know we
Physical.
use level to build a level building, but it doesn't have to be that level is straight.
Well, you're thinking that level and horizontal are different. They're not. Not in building.
Oh, it depends on if it matters or not.
Doesn't depend at all. It doesn't. In reality, it does not depend. You're telling me if I extend my horizontal plane out, my building slab out infinitely, I would be in space. That is ridiculous.
I know I don't care if you find it ridiculous, but it's if it's true, it's true. It doesn't matter,
You
right?
should care. You shouldn't be worried about what I think or what I believe. You should care how ridiculous it is.
Well, I wouldn't say anything is ridiculous.
Have you ever done any work, Funk? You know, practical
yes,
work.
I have worked.
Have you ever had to lay anything out in a building plot or anything? We're using many measurements.
I wasn't an electrician, so I didn't deal with buildings that way. No.
So you didn't have to deal with any measurements or anything?
No, but I helped my father build something.
Okay.
I'm not a builder. I'm not a carpenter, if you're asking for that.
Right.
Did your house fall down?
Why would it fall down?
Can I just point out as well, I have just put in the live stream chat the video of the two different tools showing two different horizontals over the same point. The one that somebody said we were lying about. Well, the evidence is there in the chat. Also, a bit where George says that the horizon rises above the crosshairs, and he's the only person I've ever heard say that, which was the point I was trying to make to him about all of this sort of stuff. So you've got a double whammy there. George saying it rises, which it doesn't, and the fact that the main surveyor doesn't know how to set his tools up.
I heard Gummy Bear said he didn't know how to calibrate it though, so I'm not gonna accept
Remembering
that.
that the two different tools could be given different, like levels as well, because they're so long a distance. So I didn't mean to cut in over the top of you, mate, but I just wanted to get that out. Because it could have been the setting up of the instrument, could have been one of the, one of them could have been out, or it could be they were both calibrated, and that is the result. You're looking over ridiculous, distances.
Yeah, surveyors don't look over water normally. They have measuring rods in the thing. So
Well, yeah, I mean, if they want to build something in the middle of some water, they just use the water level. That's it. That's their datum.
I mean, Spot, how important is precision and accuracy when it comes to building something?
Well, you get given a measurement,
to get it right,
and you build it to that measurement. That's what happens.
If you're off a little bit, if you're off a little bit,
different trades working on buildings, and they all, they're all got different parts of the buildings. If the bricklayers are the erecting a steel frame, the roofers, whatever, it all has to be exact.
I mean,
because they're all working
whatever
for that,
part, whatever part
I
you're
say
building.
look
If you go ahead.
No, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say whatever part of the building that you're working on, whether it's the floor or the bricks or the stairs, whatever you're working on, if you're off a little bit at the beginning, it's going to end up being a tremendous amount the farther you go out. So,
I just say that our day and age where people are trying to build buildings at a fast rate. I mean, you still, I don't think the quality of the workmanship these days in some places, you look around villages and towns, it's all a little bit, but some of these constructions have to be exact, right? As we know, look at cathedrals, look at these, these buildings, they're so precise.
Yeah.
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 That's the tolerance it should be, That's there is no tolerance, but go on. Yep.
And to say we can't detect small differences is craziness. We detect it in our flooring, in our trim, in our leveling of the floor. Any deviation you can detect. We have to often add self-leveling concrete for our floors or grind a part down that's a hump, and it's easily detected by a level. This isn't nothing. I mean, 8 inches over 1 mile is a huge, deviation in surveying. An eighth of an inch or a fraction of an inch in this, that, and the other overall in your overall measurements adds up over time when you're squaring a room. I mean, it shows up in everything you do.
But don't you have when you build, you can build parts of a mile is pretty fucking 4 hours, long distance, I would say. But if that building, if it has a slight curvature, and I have to precise that the curvature is really small. If you have a tiny curvature, why does it matter?
You're kidding me, right?
No, I'm asking you. It's points. It's
because when we erect buildings, the steel doesn't bend. It fits together. It has tolerances that you have to build within, and you can take up those tolerances if you make a mistake. But that's a mistake. That's not built-in curvature.
But you have but over a mile, if you have a mile-long building, it's like 0.0 of a degree. I mean, you can bend any steel. You can bend any steel that way. I mean, it's not so stiff that it won't bend. I'm just asking you.
What's your drop over a mile? What's your drop? What's it?
The drop? I don't remember. Was it 8 inches per mile square, something like that?
Right. Okay. So, do you think that would be important to know if you were running a drain for a mile?
I think it's important for every point that you have a drop.
Do you think you could possibly figure in a quadratic equation into a measurement for a building?
I think if I were to build the
answer to that is no. It's not possible. In fact, it's impossible.
What is impossible? Sorry.
To figure in a quadratic equation into a building.
What's the problem with the quadratic equation?
You tell me.
He doesn't understand. And I would like you to sit in.
What do you mean?
Meeting.
What do you mean by figuring? Are you telling me that it's impossible to not have?
Wants to know what a quadratic equation is.
It's a squared equation, but what's the problem with it? specifically.
How does that work on a ball?
Well, just how does it work in reality?
Yeah,
It's a math problem, not like a globe
So
problem.
over 1 mile, you've got 8 inches. What's that? 2 miles.
15.
Come on, what's 2 miles? Do a little bit of maths. Go on.
16.
Ooh, slope Earth. Nice. Come on.
No,
what's
that's wrong, that, mate.
what's 2 miles?
16 inches.
Ooh, wrong. Come on.
Wrong.
Quadratic.
Wrong.
Quadratic. Come on. Let's do it.
Quad.
32 inches.
32. There you go. So from mile 1, if it's 8 inches, what's it from mile 1 to mile 2 if it's 32 inches?
Is it really like that? I thought it was 8, 16, 32, 64, like that.
No,
That's multiplied by 2.
So each time is 4
that's
times?
a slope, mate.
No,
Yeah.
times it by itself.
It's a quadratic
why
equation.
they say
It's
8 inches per mile
impossible
squared.
to figure into reality. Because from the centre, you've only got 8 inches either way, but from one end, you've got 32 inches. And how is that possible? It just isn't. It's impossible.
Baller's Canal.
Yep.
Impossible.
Impossible.
And I would like, I don't even know why we're arguing against somebody who doesn't know the quadratic formula of Earth curve when they're telling us that it would work out over 2,000 feet or 3 miles or 4 miles. I would like for you to sit in an engineering meeting and tell that engineer that's plotted this out on a planar surface to the very 1/16th of an inch in most site plans and tell them that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the smaller buildings. We are talking about things that
We're
are
talking
real-
about a
I
mile.
don't think you know what
You
you're
don't
talking
know
about.
what you're talking about.
No, we're talking about smaller building, less
I
than a
don't think
less
you
than a
do
mile.
know.
Yes, we do know. We're talking about buildings which are smaller than a mile long.
So only 2 inches
A
then.
mile-long building is
People
I
precise-
have never seen a building that long.
Yeah,
ever.
2 inches
like the
over the
building-
half mile, 8
Yeah,
inches
yeah,
over
so
the
like-
full mile. You've got the same problem.
Like the building that Larry Scott showed us, that was 1,500 feet, right? That he got 2 inches of earth curve built into the slab. You mean like that distance?
I'm not.
don't
How
think
long
you-
was that?
Yeah.
How long was
exactly.
that, Rakia? No,
So
I'm
if it's
asking
8
you.
inches over- if it's 8
Rakia,
inches-
I'm asking you. How long
It's all
was
right.
that?
We'll be doing a
Andrew,
special.
talk through me.
We'll go over the video sometime.
No, but
right?
you said
Don't
just
worry.
exactly back to me. You didn't say what. You didn't say. Give me the
He
number.
said 1,500 foot. I heard him say it.
1,500
Yeah,
foot
but-
building.
1,500-foot building.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Larry Scott, a surveyor.
It's all right. He's wanting to learn now, Rakia, right?
No,
he's
no, I
realised
have
he's
to
wrong
know
and he
the
hasn't got a
meters,
clue
how
what
far
he's
that-
talking about.
It's a
with quadratic
500 meters long.
equations.
That's a third of a mile.
Now he's willing to learn, right?
Yeah, he's here to learn, yeah.
The quadratic equation still
Nice.
works over the half mile to the full mile, right? It still doesn't work anywhere.
Well, it's not exactly the most precise one, but it's
because it's
I guess-
quadratic.
Yeah, it's
not
the reason why it doesn't really work is because it's following a parabola while
You
Earth
didn't even know
surface
what it
is parabola.
was 10 minutes ago. Now you're telling us it's not precise?
I know it's not
George
precise
said-
because it's
George
not
says
following a
it is
parabola.
precise. George
It's a
says it is
circle. A
precise.
circle isn't a parabola.
You
George
didn't even know what it was earlier. We had to tell you.
No, but I know that a circle isn't a
He's
parabola.
using
and if
his
a globe
words
is
now.
not a parabola.
Go on, keep saying circle and parabola. Perhaps you might understand that it doesn't work in reality.
Yeah, that's the problem,
I don't
the
know-
reality bit.
My point is that I don't think it matters for smaller buildings.
It just doesn't work, so it doesn't matter because
You
it's
have to
not
explain
there.
why. But you
Because
have
it's-
to explain why
because-
it matters.
Because level is horizontal. Very simple. There's no
That's just-
drop.
hang on. Doesn't mean anything.
Reality? What's that?
That's the Earth we live on.
Let's
He
not
said it
forget that
doesn't mean anything. That's so strange to me.
No, I said level is horizontal. It doesn't. What was that? What you
Dude,
said?
You're telling me what I do for a living doesn't mean anything? Are you
I
kidding
didn't
me?
talk to you, Rakia. Please follow the conversation.
We're
please.
talking about reality. What I did this morning.
I didn't talk to you, for fuck's sake, Rakia. I
You're
answered
talking to
Bev.
me right now.
I talked to Bev when I said that it doesn't matter.
So it just applies to Bev. You're being
Yes.
ridiculous.
I talked to Bev, you fuckface. What the fuck? Calm down,
Wow, that's
Wow,
bad, Funk. Come
nice.
on, dude.
Calm down.
You not can't be
Yeah, we
that
don't need
triggered.
that,
You're telling
Funk.
me
surely.
to
You don't
calm
need that,
down. You
Funk.
just did the F face. When we're
Yeah,
all
well,
talking
you're
to
being
each
kind of
other,
ridiculous.
You're
I was
better than
talking
this,
to
you're
Funk.
Bev.
being ridiculous and projecting onto us.
No, I said that what Bev said didn't make any sense.
Level is horizontal. What I did this morning to level a slab. Yes, it makes all the sense in the world. If it's not level, water would flow.
How long was it? How long was it? How large area was it?
Any length you can do, I can extend that horizontal out, straight line segments.
I'm asking you, how long was that when you built that?
The particular building I did this morning, 600 feet, roughly. It was a rectangle.
That's not very. I don't think that it would
Not
matter.
very what? You didn't even know earlier. You think we can't measure the quadratic equation in 600 feet?
No, but I don't think it matters when you're building over small distances.
Okay, what about long distance? Would it matter then?
He doesn't do any
It
building.
could matter.
Like,
It
why?
depends on what you're
You're
going to
just
build.
imagining this shit, Funk.
Yeah, you don't know.
No, but I'm asking you, if you're building a building, if what we are saying is true, if you have a deviance in an angle between the both ends, you're gonna have a slight curvature.
Sorry, what
of
angle?
I'm talking hypothetical now, Bev.
No,
Follow me,
wait a minute, spot on, just a minute. At each end of the building, it's a horizontal, and the vertical is perpendicular to the horizontal. Now, we're saying that level is horizontal. So at each end, at every point along that horizontal plane, if you were to drop a plumb bob, it would be perpendicular. And as we can prove in geometry, all perpendiculars to a plane will be parallel. So that's what we can bring to this argument. What is it that you are trying to say? Where is your angular deviance measured? Please tell us.
If you're building a 500-foot building, did you say that? It's 150 meters, right? 500-foot building.
Yeah, carry on.
And if you have a tiny angle difference between each end of the building,
where are you measuring this angle?
If your instrumentation isn't precise enough, but if there is an angle difference
between a vertical and a horizontal.
Between each end of the building.
Yeah, between the horizontal and the vertical.
You're doing something wrong anywhere.
If you have a tiny difference in angle between each end of the building, and you're building and the material which you when you're building up the building after you have put down the foundation, if there is a tiny curvature, keep in mind this curvature, it will be less than like hundredths of a degree.
Where is the curvature? Is it to the horizontal or to the vertical?
Well, if it's there, it doesn't matter because
but
I
where
don't think
is it?
like a simple. I don't think even a simple auto level would almost be able to see that.
Yeah. Okay, but where is it going to be? In the horizontal or the vertical? Because they're the two frames of reference that anybody who's building anything will ever use. So where is the angular
it's the horizontal. It's the horizontal on each end of the building. It would be in this case, and they would not be the same. And it wouldn't matter, I think, if you're going to build a building 150 meters.
Do you
long.
think the top floors of a skyscraper are wider than the bottom floors?
I think it's so small it wouldn't be noticeable.
I don't think you know how small or big it would be. You're just saying that.
No, I can calculate it for you right now. Do you know, Rakia? We can do the calculation right now.
Go ahead. I got a base of 2 miles by 2 miles, and it's 2 miles tall. Go ahead and calculate it.
Well, wait a minute.
Sure.
I think he's already said it because he expects the horizontal to curve. You don't expect the verticals, the plumbs, to bend at all, do you? Funk.
The plumb would curve if the horizontal curve. That's just a given.
Sorry, the plumb would curve.
The plumb curves?
Plums would be different in each place.
Would they curve or would they be straight?
They can establish, but they can establish the horizontal with
Wait a minute,
tools
is that
and
yeah,
make
wait a
sure
minute.
that it's accurate.
We're
So
talking
even
to
if the
Funk
Earth
at the minute. Funk, the verticals, the plums, right? Would they be straight or would they be curved?
A plumb bob at each point is a vector, which is pointing that is straight. For all
It's straight. Okay,
intents and
now
purposes.
perpendicular to that.
That's level.
Is that straight?
Level.
Is that straight?
That's level.
Is level straight? Is it perpendicular?
No, I
to the
think
plumb?
level is also like a vector. You can make a straight line out of that.
Okay, so that is perpendicular to the vertical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So perpendicular means it's at 90 degrees, right? You know what that means. So that 90 degrees, there's no deviance. That is a right angle, right? All right angles are equal. That's another rule of geometry.
Otherwise, it
all
wouldn't be
angles.
perpendicular.
All right angles are equal.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no difference in them. They're always measured exactly the same.
Yeah. I know what the perpendicular angle
So
is.
where
but
is
I
the
don't see
angle
point.
deviance that you're talking about?
You can ask that question earlier because that same question was asked, and I will answer the same way. It would be the difference between each end of the building.
That doesn't make any sense. Like, it is almost as though you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, Funk, for every level-headed person here, this is a beautiful moment. It really is. It's true cognitive dissonance, mate. You're experiencing it. We're witnessing it.
Funk.
Let
me ask you something. Let me ask you, Funk. So when they flat the place to start building,
Flat the place.
Yeah, they have to flat the place. So are you telling me that we don't have flat places and construction?
I don't.
No matter what they do, those plumb lines are gonna be pointing to the center of
I
the
think
earth.
if you're gonna build like a 50-meter long building or 100-meter long building, I don't think that the angle difference will be noticeable by anybody anyway.
But you're saying that
Even if
there's no flat.
100%
construction,
flat,
right? Yes.
Talking about like 100% flat.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is 100% flat. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean, have you seen how they just like screw things together and like it's not like precision engineering, but it's precise enough for a building to hold up.
With due respect to all the ballers in the room, this has always been their argument that on a small scale, it's minimal, nominal.
Yeah.
You know, like
you can build a house without taking into consideration curvature at all.
Then why do they advertise auto levels as being accurate within a millimeter over a kilometer double run?
Because we don't understand scale.
Yeah.
Is the water level even calibrated though? I mean, where are they?
I think if you were to build a kilometer-long building, it would maybe matter a little bit.
That's not what I said. When the instrument is advertised as being accurate within a millimeter over a kilometer double run, which means multiple setup, foresight, back-sight, 1 kilometer back, and can be within a millimeter accurate.
Yeah. And I would say if you were to build if you use the horizontal at the center of the auto level at the center of the building, and you use that as like a reference point to establish elevation from that, even if there would be a tiny curvature difference from your point to the end of the building, that wouldn't matter.
So we're going to play
my
my
so
model
tiny
dictates.
anyway.
Yeah. Can't tell straight, can you? That's your problem.
Well,
or
if it's the angle would be so tiny, nobody would
angle?
notice, right?
No,
the angle of a straight line.
It's so
I'm talking about I'm talking about the angle to plumb at the end of the building, which I was talking about earlier.
What'd you say, Spot? Spot.
Spot
on level.
What the hell are you talking about?
He's getting muffled out.
Might have bad.
You
I
there?
never said spot.
No, there's someone in. Oh, he dropped out. Don't
Yeah,
know.
bad
That's
connection.
why.
He'll be coming back. He'll be coming
Yeah.
back
Oh.
probably.
Not you, Adam. This is
Well,
like the
if anybody wants to follow me, we can do the calculation for what the difference would be on a skyscraper, for
The
example.
right angle.
There he
Does
is.
anybody want to join that, or like you care, or you don't care? Or...
Well, we can jump
between down
spot
and
on
down.
level now. You're back. You had something to say there.
All right, Mel. Thanks, mate. Yeah, so I cut out. I couldn't speak. Yeah, I was just going to say to Funk. So if it's so small that you can't measure it, yeah, that's what you're saying. You're saying it's never there. You know what I mean? It's so small.
It's insignificant to the purpose of the building, which is like for people to walk in it.
Well, you also got to remember no one's ever measured anything other than horizontal parallels.
Well,
And vertical
that would be you wouldn't notice it if you measure it at one place. So you have to measure it at
So, like
several
Buster
places.
said a minute ago, if the tool is accurate to within whatever, that very small amount over 1 kilometer, that means that you have to move the tripod, look back, go forward again, use that technique, all the way down, all the way back. But would you think you could look all the way from one point to the other at 1 kilometer? Would you be able to use that tool? Because this is what people seem to be doing, looking over really long distances with the tool that's not designed to do that.
When it says, I guess it depends on what you're going to use the instrument for. What precision you need.
No, you just use.
Because you said a millimeter over kilometers, right? So you can measure longer than a kilometers if you don't need a millimeter precision.
No, that's not right.
No, it means
Why
you
not?
can go.
Why not?
You can go 1 kilometer and make a mark, and come back and repeat this. The same. So you work your way back, and you get to the same point you started at within less than a millimeter. That's how accurate the tool is if you use it. The way that it's meant to every 75 meters. That's the way to use that tool. Now, it's crazy to think that you use it over any longer distances because you're not going to get the accuracy for one thing. And you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to see accurately. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be. It's a millimeter after a kilometer. That means it would be double the accuracy or half the accuracy at 2 kilometers, right?
No.
Why not?
Because you don't understand how the tool works. You have to use it in small increments. You can't do it in one go. And if you were to do 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers, it would still be 1 millimeter. Because that's how the accuracy of the tool over the distance.
Yeah, but 1 millimeter would be the representation at the 1 kilometer mark, right?
Well, within 1 millimeter, the accuracy of the tool, yes.
So that means it can be 10 kilometers. It's not 1 millimeter there, right?
It would, yeah, because you keep doing it in increments where you keep transposing.
No, but I'm saying if you're using it at one go,
transposing the benchmark.
But you can use it longer if you don't have such an if you don't need accuracy.
No.
Why not?
Because that's not how the tool
You're
works.
obfuscating the point.
I'm just asking you guys, why can't you use it if you don't need the precision?
Do you understand that you go a kilometer? You understand that you go a kilometer and then
please explain it to him as best you can, because I think he's genuinely trying to grasp it.
Well,
I understand it would be better precision if you measure it incrementally. But I'm just asking, if you don't need the precision, why can't you just measure what's the magical line of 1 kilometer? What happens after that?
No,
it would be less precise, right?
It's that you go a kilometer differential level, and you come back to the same point, and you can be within the tool is accurate within a millimeter when you come back to that same point.
And that means if you go further, it would be less accurate, right?
Within
so
the transitions. Go on, carry on. Sorry.
What I don't think it's saying is that when you look over 1 kilometer, you can be within 1 millimeter. That's not what it says to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you think it means?
Yeah, asking me. I would get, that would be my interpretation of it. I might be wrong, but
yeah, you are. Good.
Is that like a back and forth side that it's like within 1 millimeter?
Can you?
When you go,
can you imagine what you could see if somebody had a measuring rod and they were 1 kilometer away? If you were looking through a 32 times scope, do you think you'd be able to read to the millimeter over that distance with that tool?
It would be pretty difficult, though.
Yeah, it would be impossible.
Mm.
So that's not how
Is
it's
it a
used.
theoretical? It's a theoretical position, or
it's within the transitions of the tool. So you, as long as you can see to the millimeter when you're reading it, and you can make the transitions, however many it takes. It might take 20, might take 30. You might be able to do it in 10, right? If you're good. But you can read to him, and then you go 1 kilometer away. But then how do you know where that measurement is? I mean, how are you that good? Do you know you've been accurate all the way? Like, well, no, you have to go back to the benchmark that you started off from. You have to close your loop in order to check that all of your numbers add up with your heights and the differences of all the levels. So then you go all the way back 1 kilometer, and when you get to the kilometer mark at the end, you could be, if you've been accurate, you will get to the millimeter. To the millimeter. Because that's what you've been doing. The tool set up it. The tool's accurate to 1 millimeter. And you've read it good enough and you've not made any mistakes. You've made all your turns properly. You've set it all up and you've got back and you've checked your loop. You're millimeter accurate. You can... Job done.
Humans.
Yeah, so you have the limitation of the scope, is what you're saying as well. Like the human limitation of the scope in addition
you're right.
to the...
You have to read the rod at the other end.
If you had a really precise scope, then it would be... Or if you didn't have the limitation of the sight, you could say.
Really weird though.
And it would
32 times scope is the best you can get. They don't do 64 or 72 or 125. They just don't do it.
And maybe that's because you don't use it normally that far.
Because of the air.
It's not practical through the atmosphere. Don't you get it?
Yeah, I know. I know it's not practical for like building stuff. I know that, but
yeah, but why? Because of the atmosphere. Do you agree?
No, I think it's just because you normally don't use
don't know
it
what
for
you're talking
kilometers.
about.
No, I'm just saying you're normally using like an auto level for buildings and stuff, right?
I'm here to tell you, as someone, as in you, who's never used one, from someone who used one this morning and has another one about. You hear that? That's my tripod in my back seat. I'm telling you, you're wrong. The reason we don't use them over distance is because it gets distorted because of the atmosphere. The measurements that we're trying to be accurate with would be wrong. So why do them? Don't you get it?
It has to be done incrementally, Funk.
But over long distance, you would maybe use a different tool, right? You don't use an auto level.
No, you just don't.
Come on, man.
A different tool, not an
which
auto
one?
level.
Okay, which one?
Like total station or something like that. More
a total station with a 32 times scope. Maybe you don't know further what you're talking about. You know, you're making yourself sound dumb right now. I'm trying to help you.
No, but like like, do you use auto level over like really long distances? Normally, auto levels are.
You could do a kilometer
How long do
double
you?
run.
Yeah.
No, but you're using them for buildings, right? For siting of buildings.
Oh,
that's not. That's like 2 kilometers.
You know what
Okay.
incremental is, right?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you're using a 64 scope, that would be
talking out of your
ridiculous.
There's not a 64
Oh,
no such thing.
no, it's not the 64, but why would you use that? Because normally you use this
You
for buildings.
wouldn't, because the atmosphere would distort the measurement too bad. So you would be wasting your time.
But Funk, just for a second. Go through the process. Like, you've got a kilometer, right? Do it incrementally, like 100 meters,
Yeah.
200. Just step through it.
You can do that. You can do
300,
that.
Everything's even. 4, right? Do it all the way through. If each level checks out, like, can't you see how we do it? Humans?
Yes, I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying that what is the to use a odd level, like if you're gonna site up a building, you're not siting up 2 kilometers. You're siting up like
You
a.
don't use an
100
auto
meters
level
straight.
to sight up a building.
You don't use
Sir.
that for that?
Yeah.
Sir,
You've
why
been
are you
taught by-
here
yeah.
spouting nonsense?
Who have you been taught this by, Funk? Who's told you this, or are you just imagining what you want to imagine?
Well, what do you use an auto level for then?
So it's not to take angles, right? Funk.
No, I didn't say it was for taking angles.
You said to shoot up a building.
Shoot up building. I said
That's what you
to.
said, yes.
I said to like use it for like what do you call it? Establishing reference point on a site before you're going to build up the building.
The only thing an auto level is used for is what, Funk? The one purpose this tool is made for, and it's very good at doing it. What is that purpose? Before we
You mean
get any further,
establishing
wasting our
level?
time with you.
Establish.
Yeah,
Oh my god!
horizontal.
You don't have to be so fucking rude, man.
Dude, don't talk about me. Just tell me the answer.
No, you are talking about me. Please.
I'm
stop that.
asking you a question.
Yes, you're using it to establish a level
That's
line.
a horizontal, not a level,
yes.
which is the same thing, but it's
No.
used to establish a horizontal, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What else is it used for?
I think you use it to like site up buildings, like building
Wrong.
sites and stuff like.
You know how I know you're
You
wrong?
don't use that. Though? Okay.
Because that is the only thing it's used for.
Well,
Got
wait a
it
minute.
now?
Do you think level
What?
and horizontal is different?
But I read here, and it says it's widely using surveying and construction to measure height differences.
Yeah, vertical change and horizontal, correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you create the horizontal using the auto level and measure the drop or vertical change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
okay, so I told you use it to like measure, like to establish a foundation for a
Site
building,
up
right?
a building, you said.
To size
Yeah.
up a building
it
was
doesn't-
your
it's
exact-
not that.
You
You
don't
maybe-
do that.
maybe a technical term.
Maybe I'm not use. I don't know exactly what I mean when I say site of a building. By that I mean you use it
Because you've
for.
never done it. You're just reading it right now.
I haven't done it. No, that's true.
Yeah.
And that's
I think you were talking about an
But you
angle
use
measurement, weren't you?
But you use it for construction, right? That's what I was talking about. That was my whole point.
Well, what else would you use it for?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't
But
think he
that's
meant
why I
like
was-
look
but
up a
that's-
building. I think he meant.
I
the
think he
site
thought he
type
meant
of property.
angle measurement.
No, wait a minute.
No.
I think
No,
he's
I
going
never
to get
said that.
round to the measuring the
I never said
curvature
that.
of the Earth purpose that
I said that
Roohifs
before you-
repurposed it for, right?
Before you start building, you need to know what the different elevations are at different points. So
That's
you're getting
construction,
instead of a
right?
foundation.
What is
Yes,
the
and that's
other
what I meant.
purpose? What's the other purpose that you think it might be used for?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Fair enough.
I think.
Well done.
But my whole point was that you use it for buildings,
Yeah.
and because you use it for these buildings, it wouldn't. If you're gonna, it's not like you're
Establishing
building.
Elevations.
Yes.
All
And when you're using
construction,
everywhere.
and when you use it,
including things like bridges,
And when you-
dams. Yeah.
You need
Yeah,
to know
when you-
where to get there
I'm not sure
from
about-
somewhere.
Drains.
Yeah.
The elevation of the
Getting spot.
entire country above the mean sea level is established by that tool.
Tell you what, lads, just give us
my-
block and beam instead of.
But my whole point was that you're normally using it over like shorter distances for setting up constructions.
Yeah,
and
for the
stuff, then it will-
entire country, yes. Those short distances.
Yeah, but
everywhere,
yes,
all
when
the
you use
time.
it for short distances, you wouldn't need a 64 scope for that.
Well, that's
It
why
would be very
they don't make
impractical.
them with 64 scope, then, right?
Yes, that's
So-
my whole point.
Well,
I mean that's
what's
why I
your
said
whole point?
what's the point of making a 64 scope if you're using them to side of buildings? It's like 100 meters.
You always
Maximum.
elevations for everywhere over the entire country, right? Not just buildings, because they put buildings in places, but they need to know the elevation of that entire place. And they take that datum from somewhere that's already been leveled.
Yeah. So that was my whole point, and I don't understand what's the issue with that.
Well, you said just
It
for
would be very-
construction, it's like everywhere. So where's the other purpose that you think this tool might be used for?
I don't know, but if you use it for construction, it would be impractical with the 64 scope.
Yeah. Can you
That's why I said,
imagine?
why would you use that?
Can you imagine why someone would want to take it up a mountain?
I don't know, to establish something that everybody else really knows. It's not like really good. We have better ways to measure, to do like what you call it, surveying landscape. I guess this would be like a exercise for the person who did it.
Landscape
Learning
surveying.
exercise.
Quite like that. That might be good.
I don't know what you call it, geodetic surveying, or I don't know what you call it.
I know. It's
Sounds
not,
like we're making a patio on my garden.
It's not geodetic surveying. That's already something.
No, I'm saying you have better tools for surveying over like really, really far distances to establish like the landscape, the terrain of the ground and stuff like that.
There's no better tool than a precision level though for elevation.
Oh, I didn't. They use
remembering
different methods now, like
remembering that they
satellites and drones. And stuff.
Remember they used tools like the auto level and its predecessor to do what we're talking about, short movements. Yeah. Are you talking about like I don't know, the digital age and the and another way to measure?
So, does anybody wants to know the angle, the length difference between like a tall building, a
You want to do some maths?
yes?
Can you tell us?
Nobody else here.
Can you tell us the
Everybody
angular
made an
difference?
assumption. You guys made an assumption. I might be wrong. You guys might be wrong. Let's find out who's right.
Can we do go off the principles that all right angles are equal, and you tell us where the angular deviance is measured?
Oh, that wasn't the question at hand, and you made up a different question.
Yeah, it was because
different
you've obviously had to put some sort of an angle in there, haven't you?
It's not
in
some
order for
sort
you
of an
to do-
angle. It's a certain angle.
Yeah, yeah. So
the angle which everybody
can you tell
on the
me
whole
where
Earth
that angle would be measured?
You would measure the angle. It would be really tiny between each end of the building. I feel like we're going in circles now
against
because
the
I feel
horizontal,
like I'm repeating myself for like the
against the
100th time saying that
horizontal of the
now.
bottom of the building.
Give him a go, Bev. Let's see where
I'm repeating myself over and over again. It's kind of pointless.
Okay. Well, the angle measurement things are pretty accurate nowadays, right?
No, but even going beyond, like disregarding any accuracy of instruments, or whether or not you could measure it or not.
You get a professional plumber.
If the angle is what we claim it to be, and you would have a tall building, you guys claimed it would be different length between the building at the top and at the bottom.
No, it would be accurate. It would be built square, plumb.
Oh my God! Can you think hypothetically, like outside? I don't know whatever
No,
box
I'm
you're
no
in.
good at that. I'll keep quiet if you.
I
don't
understand
think
that.
outside
of
reality,
no.
No,
Just
think
give him a
hypothetically,
go,
whether it's reality or not. It's something you can figure out on another time. But let's think about what it would mean
Let's
hypothetically.
imagine with funk. Let's go on. I'm up for that.
No, let's calculate. Does anybody know math in here?
Come on, keep going, Funk. Like, you're nearly there.
Imagimathtics.
Nearly there. I haven't started.
What are you actually measuring? What are you actually measuring?
I'm not measuring anything.
Human trait.
Guys, I'm just trying to see if we can find out what the actual difference would be between the top end and the bottom end of the building.
Okay, what's your square area at the bottom then?
I know we can just make a one. 50 times 50 meter, for example.
Okay, go on. That's a good one. How tall are we going to go? How high?
Do you want me to calculate the actual number for you?
Of how high it's going to be?
If you give me the measurements and stuff of a building, I'll tell you what the difference would be.
Okay, so 50 meters. 50 times 50 meters. 50 times 50. 50 times 50 times.
You can't just give it to someone else.
50 times
No
50
way.
times 50 times 50 meters and 100 meters tall.
Is this Rent-a-Myth a magician?
It's called math. It's pretty simple.
All right, so the base is 50 by 50.
Yeah.
And then you're going up 100.
Do you not want to know what elevation it's built at?
No, it's okay. You can put it at the
mean sea level.
Yes, mean sea level.
Well, right, you get flooded. You'd never build a building at mean sea level. That'd be bad.
In at 10 meters.
So there's no oil rigs on the water, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, how tall's this oil rig? This is going to be a great oil rig. Do you want to build an oil rig?
Oil rig at mean sea level.
Yeah, let's build it. Let's have an oil rig. This is going to be ridiculous. Let's do it. A 50 by 50 oil rig at mean sea level.
50 by 50 oil rig. That's the smallest oil rig I've ever seen.
But how high did you say the building was?
Oh, you want to wait to see how
100 meters.
100 meters high. I mean, I bet you've never seen an oil rig like that, have you?
Yeah, houses. No, most semi-detached houses are that big, aren't they?
What, 50?
Not 100 high.
50 meters by 50 meters. 100 meters high.
They're just the difference between the bottom and the top end of the buildings.
Yeah.
I made a claim that I don't think it would be a very huge difference between the top and the bottom end of
doing
the
the 100
building.
meters. Yeah, 100 meters.
Why would there be any difference?
It would be a difference because you have if you make each end of the building perpendicular to plumb individually, you would have like
no, it would be plumb, wouldn't it? Wouldn't be perpendicular to plumb.
Ignore Bev is just rambling. So yeah, we would have plumb at each end, and then that would create a tiny angle.
A tiny angle.
Yeah, ignore Bev. He's just rambling.
But all right angles are meant to be equal, aren't they?
They would have to be 69 miles apart for that divergence to be 1 degree.
Well, yeah. So.
But I'm talking about like the distance between.
They're not talking about the degree. They're talking about the best
number.
They're talking about the measurement between the bottom and the top.
Yeah.
If you calculated it, if you want the number.
We want to know how big a square footage we'd have at the top.
If you have 50 meters times 50 meters at the bottom, and then if you go plumb from each
all the way up,
and each corner of the building. What's 100 meters? What's the 50 times 50 plus a little bit?
Just 50 by 50.
Yeah, it would be 775 micrometers.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it doesn't matter.
50 by 50.
Less than 1 millimeter.
That much. 700 microns.
Yeah,
775 micrometers, or if you want it in millimeters. That's 0.775 millimeters, so less than a millimeter.
Right. So the horizontals at the perpendiculars at the bottom of those.
I don't think that's what a micrometer is.
What would happen to those? Those
700 microns.
So if you build a building, if you measure plumb at each corner, it wouldn't really matter. That's my whole point. If you build it.
I think in order to have what you're talking about, you have to not have a horizontal. You've just you lose what horizontal is.
And that can't be right anyway, because how would you measure the plums being off if that's the only difference in square footage?
It is immeasurable by any ordinary method. That's the point.
So how do you know it's off?
Because you figure out that plumb lines are not parallel at a much greater distance. You don't do it at this short of a distance.
Figure out they are.
That's not true. They use
So they use short distances to tell me that the plumb lines aren't parallel.
No.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
You
do.
can't. You need a longer distance.
Have you not seen that
You
one?
need something
That,
like
no,
mile
I
or
mean,
something,
we've
like what
already
Jesse Kozlowski
debunked
did.
it already with the main surveyor, right? But you do realise that you've just helped us out again with another point that even you don't agree with, right?
No, you got that backwards. Main surveyor debunks you guys.
But he did it at short
Main
distances,
surveyor
didn't he?
doesn't know how to use his tools.
He did it
What's
over
that,
short
Rob?
distances. You just said it couldn't be done over short distances.
Well, let's not be ambiguous. What distance did he do? Quantify it.
Well, the video was posted earlier. Like that's
And you
your
don't know
guy.
the number. So what do you? Why are you saying it's short or long?
Obviously, you don't know.
It's
Because you
Gambino.
said you couldn't do it over short distance.
He didn't do it over 50 meters. He did it over like at least a mile or something.
Well, you said it had to be like 69 miles.
No, I didn't say that. I said it has to be 69 miles to attain 1 degree. One to get 1 degree.
Have you
That's
had
why
how
it's
much
short.
experience have you had in this, or are you just doing what you
No,
usually
look,
do?
to be fair, in theory, if the Earth was a geoid, and you had a starting point, and then you built up vertical and horizontal, and then went 69 miles, there should be a 1 degree deviation if you built another building. If it was a geoid.
Yeah, that's true.
But
That's
the
exactly right.
horizontals
So
would
that's
also
fair.
have
That's
to be
fair. So what
bendizontal
distance-
and intersect.
What's the shortest distance we can measure plumb lines not being parallel? Give us that number.
I don't know. I have to look it up. I don't
And
know
how
the
do you know
distance
that the
in front
main
of-
surveyor was accurate?
Because
You
I
don't
saw
know-
his video. I don't remember the number from it though.
Wait a second. So you know it's accurate, but you don't know the number that you would need to be, and you don't know the main surveyor's number? What are you talking about?
I didn't
Maybe you should
memorize
go
every
find
number in
that
his
out.
video.
Okay,
We
well,
can just go look
then
it
you go
up.
get-
I mean, I don't have to
yeah, you
memorize
could
the
go look it
video
up.
when I can
Before
just
you
look
talk
it up.
about it again, you could maybe look it up. What's the minimum distance, and what's the distance that the main surveyor did on? Thank you.
I don't have to do that to prove that plumb lines are not parallel. It's already proven by that video.
You gotta
The video
remember
that's
that
been
for
debunked.
these people, when it doesn't fit their model, the measurements are meaningless.
Come to say,
Hey Bev, I'm kind of wondering how you're still talking after I proved that water levels don't form a flat plane.
Wow,
I debunked you.
That was very good.
Yeah. So how you still talking about that?
you're still talking
You
shite.
didn't-
We've noticed that.
No, how did he do that? I want to know how he did that, Bev.
Go on, tell him.
Do you have a video on that or something? Yeah. I would like to see that video. Do you have it? Can you put it in the chat or something? I'll go
Yeah,
watch
here,
it.
I'll link it for you, Rob.
That'd be awesome. Thank you, bro.
Nice.
Appreciate it.
So I just looked up main
Yeah,
surveyor's
we're gonna
video,
take your video apart, just so you know.
and he did the measurement over a quarter mile.
Wow, that seems like a pretty short, like 400 meters.
It's more than 50 meters. But yeah, you need precision instruments over that distance.
Yeah,
to be
it's
sure.
meters.
Yeah, it's all 450 meters.
That's handy, isn't it?
So there you go. There's your answer. See how easy that was?
Yeah,
You guys gotta
that's
say
about
to
the
that.
sort of distance we were used to do our shared straight line segment test, right? It's weird, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Isn't it?
There you go, Rob.
I love that.
I showed you a commercially available water level. Rob, I showed you a commercially available water level where you have to account for the curvature of the Earth to make a flat plane.
How do you account for it?
What? I'm gonna check that out. I'm just in the middle of installing a windshield, so yeah, I'm gonna
Okay,
have
well,
to
you
check that
asked for the
video
link in
out.
chat, so it sounded like you were ready for it.
Yep. perfect. I'm gonna watch your video. Don't you worry, bro.
It's not. It's
I
not
will
a
get back
video.
to you.
It's not a video, Rob. Don't get
video?
excited. No.
Oh.
It's in a
What, is
book.
it a picture?
It just says
Seems like it is.
account, but he doesn't know what he means.
Okay, let
He's
me.
highlighted something and he took a screenshot of it.
Yeah,
that's great.
I'm gonna
Great
I'm gonna
research,
look at this.
bro.
How's that any different from the Wikipedia or links that you guys always screenshot?
You're a goon. That's
And
funny.
This is nothing. This is nothing, bro. This is a picture of some. No. This is your evidence for a globe?
No, the evidence
You're
is the
ridiculous,
product
bro.
and the way that the product is used.
Do you know what a straight line is? Do you know what a straight line is?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Apparently you don't.
I do know what a straight line is.
This is funny.
Yeah, so what do you think about that, Bev? I mean, this trumps your Wikipedia link that you always use.
Just tell us, how do they account for it? Just give us an idea on what that actually means. That statement that you're relying on, the one you've highlighted.
You account for it by making a correction due to the curvature of the Earth, which deviates from a flat plane.
Yeah. Correction which way?
Upwards by the last level in the string.
And they do that how?
I just told you, by making a calculation, an adjustment, a correction to the height of the water level to account for the curvature of the Earth. I don't know. I don't understand what else you think. What else you're looking for? It can't be made any simpler for you.
Okay. It's a micrometer, right?
I don't understand your question. That's not a complete question.
The tool. It's a water level with a micrometer on it, right? You realize how exact that is?
Yeah, it is.
Do you know how exact it is?
Yeah, it's a precision instrument.
50 million.
That's why you have to account for the curvature of the Earth, because it's a precision instrument where that matters.
Yep. And they use these tools for precision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So why would they make this correction if it was just making
precision curves? Or maybe that's the calibration that RC Meisty was on about. How they calibrate them.
Question. One complete sentence, please. I don't know what else to respond to.
Is it how RC Meisty calibrates his water levels with this precision calculation, is it, that needs to be done? So you get the tools and the micrometers and they fit it all together and all of that. And then I'm presuming you have to account for the curvature of the bit that you're on. You measure distances and do a calculation of how far to move the micrometer.
No.
No? Oh.
No, I guess you could do it that way, but...
So go on. How does it work? Show us the process then.
You set up these water levels, and then if you want to make a flat plane, you have to make a correction to the readouts of the water levels because they don't form a flat plane natively because the Earth is curved and has gravity.
Okay. Does that have the quadratic function built into it?
It's in the correction, yes.
It's
probably
in the
not quadratic because quadratic.
So the quadratic function is within the calculation and not the tool.
That's right, because the tool doesn't make a flat plane natively by itself. You have to make a correction to account for the curvature of the Earth.
If the calculation is within the calculations, then the tool must be the horizontal plane.
But it doesn't make a horizontal plane, that's the point. Oh. You have to make a correction to get a horizontal plane from it.
So the quadratic function is built into the water level, right?
No, it's built into the correction.
Okay. Yeah, well then it must be a horizontal plane the tool gives you then.
No, it doesn't. That's why you need a correction to make a horizontal plane from the readouts.
You can't put the quadratic function into a tool that you have to deal with micrometers because that's fucking ridiculous.
Okay, so now that you know you're wrong,
yeah,
you can go on.
Yeah, go on. On to the next one.
It's a
that you want
top
to do.
class troll, though.
I know,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
pretty decent troll.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one of the best, right? The best efforts you've got.
Don't know about
It defeats the
best,
Wikipedia link that you always post. What are you gonna do about that?
What, the Wikipedia
Which one
link?
you
The
gonna
one
use?
that says the water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's obviously wrong, isn't it?
Well, I don't know.
'Cause I just showed
You
you.
best go and have a word with Wiki. Go and get it changed. I mean, you're the one with the information, apparently.
So why do you keep
or
using
do
it
you think
if you don't trust it?
it's me that you have to convince? I mean, it's Wikipedia that put it out, right? Not me. I didn't write
You're
it.
the one using Wikipedia.
It's just
to
one
say
of
the
the
things that you
two,
say.
right? It's just plain obvious, right? A water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference. We can prove it too.
Obviously not. You can't prove it.
Of course we can.
How?
What do you mean we can prove it?
How would
Every
you prove
single
it?
building, every single building is built based upon that, not based on
So,
the
how do you
center of
know?
the earth. What do you
How do
mean?
you know
How
that
do you
they're
know?
flat and
I
planes?
wasn't.
How do you
Huh?
know the buildings are flat
He's
planes?
got a YouTube video with some guy that's been debunked as a surveyor. He's got a surveyor in his name on his YouTube channel. That's
So
the best
why
you've got,
do you
innit?
believe the
You got
Wikipedia
anything
link,
else?
but not a surveyor actually doing it?
Which surveyor?
Well, if we're
The
using
same one you're
language,
referring to.
They're
if we're
not
using
surveyors.
language,
They're not even here.
hang on a second. If we're using language, right, and we've got the words "a flat plane," how is that curved with language? Like, isn't terminology kind of important?
You can, I guess, draw a flat plane between 2 points of a water level, but that won't be a flat horizontal plane to your original location. It would be slightly tilted.
Yeah, flat's
And
not flat.
this tool is used
It's a
to
tilted flat plane.
yeah, right.
Okay.
And
Is it
like
tilted in both
maybe if that's not what you're
directions?
trying to create. This tool is to create a flat plane at a specific point where you're standing.
Which
And
way
to do
does
that,
it
you have to
tilt?
make a correction for the readout of the water levels.
Okay, that's fair.
Which way does it tilt?
It depends on your coordinate system, I guess.
So is it tilt?
This is
Is it
class.
curved in both directions?
Is that a two-dimensional coordinate system?
No, you need 3D.
You need to turn your Cartesian coordinates into spherical coordinates. You know there's a calculator for that, right?
I didn't say anything about spherical coordinates. I don't know why you're bringing that up.
Well, because you think you live on a sphere, you fucking retard.
Do you think that just because you're on a sphere, you need to use spherical coordinates?
Rob, don't do that, please.
Gummy,
Yeah, aren't you guys going to mute him for that?
Gummy.
Yeah.
If you live on a pyramid, do you need pyramid coordinates?
No.
No.
No, it's very possible to use Cartesian coordinates for any shape. You can use the spherical coordinates for any shape. Just a question of simplicity. What makes it easier to use? They still
How do
describe
you
the
get
same
elevation, then?
three-dimensional space.
Well, it's good they have multiple, uses and purposes, right? The old spherical coordinate system, that is. There's no other point for it other than it being a globe, really, if you're being honest.
Well, the point of using spherical coordinates is that you can describe the surface of a sphere very easily, compared to in Cartesian coordinates. You have to have a little bit of an equation going.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only difference. They still describe the exact same three-dimensional space. It's just using different numbers to make it simpler or easier to describe certain things.
How do you get elevation from that?
Elevation from what? From spherical coordinates?
Yes.
Elevation in spherical coordinates would simply just be your first variable, the r variable.
Where'd you get that R from?
The r in spherical coordinates is the distance from the origin. So whichever point you've labeled as 0, 0, 0, the r is just the distance from that point.
So it's
Do you know
measurable?
what spherical coordinates are? Spherical coordinate. We're not talking about measurements. We're talking about coordinates that you brought up.
Yeah.
In the most generic terms, spherical coordinates are a distance and two angles.
Yeah. So you have
What the hell?
three numbers. Yeah, you have three numbers.
God,
The first number
jeez.
is the distance from that origin point. The second number
that's
is
three.
the angle of revolution. Hold on. No, it's just a distance.
3D.
A number,
3 dimensions, 3 coordinates, 3 dimensions. That's what I've heard. That must be right.
Yeah.
Surely. But
So,
yeah, this surface.
yeah,
Brilliant.
spherical coordinates have 3 dimensions, and I'm telling you, the first one is the distance to the point from the origin. The second one is the angle of rotation or from one plane of rotation, and then the third one is over the perpendicular plane of
You
rotation.
sure you've been sanctioned to say this? Because everybody, please remember what he's just said there. 3 coordinates. That's not
3 coordinates
that's...
in spherical coordinate system. You have 3 coordinates. In spherical geometry, you use 2 because that has a fixed r. The first coordinate becomes fixed.
Oh no! Whoa! We're not talking about spherical geometry. We're talking about reality.
But if you want to talk math, which is what this is, spherical coordinate system is 3-dimensional space. If you want to talk about spherical geometry, that is having a fixed first variable, so the r is fixed, and then you only have 2 variables to rotate.
2 coordinates,
Yeah. So
2D.
spherical geometry
If you're
is 2D,
constrained in the
2 coordinates.
Yeah.
And spherical coordinates are 3 variables, so 3 dimensions.
If you're constrained to be a fixed distance from the origin, then you don't even need that first one. You can describe your position with 2 coordinates.
Oh,
that's what latitude and longitude
That's handy, isn't it? Yeah. 2D coordinate system. It almost sounds like it's
that's possible
on a plane.
If you're constrained to the surface of a sphere.
How would you guys turn a horizontal plane into a spheroid mathematically?
A horizontal plane into a spheroid?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a non-developable surface, though, isn't it?
Well, you'd have to have one point that's undefined.
Okay. To bend it. To add some warp to the horizontal plane.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that potentially what's happened with the generational mind puzzle we've all been born into?
Not quite sure what that means.
Well, if we've been born into a false paradigm, which is obvious for a lot of people we have, like just look at, say, Ptolemy. He had Earth at the center, with everything revolving around it. And then they tweaked some stuff, didn't they?
Are you talking about the geocentric model?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's out of date and inaccurate.
Model.
Okay.
You said model.
I did, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we typically use models for things that we can't see all at once. Like, a map is a model. We can't see the entire United States at once, so we use that.
I mean, the big contention, as far as I can tell, since it's been nearly 6 years now. Funnily enough, it was always at the beginning that water finds its level, and that doesn't seem to match. That doesn't seem to match a spheroid, And then the arguments are coming in that, there's no elevational change on a sphere. and and the boats going over the horizon. I mean, we've all been through it, but it's sort of like, really the quest now is the reality of the geometry, the physics. I mean, I'd trust an engineer now way more over a theoretical astrophysicist. I don't care how good at maths
For what
they are.
topic? Depends on the topic. Engineers aren't astrophysicists, so they're not qualified to talk on it, and vice versa.
Yeah, because an engineer isn't looking at the stars saying, I live on a globe.
I mean, that's kind of like how celestial navigation came about. We figured out we could navigate using the stars with the idea that Earth is a globe.
When you say we, are we all in on that? Like all of us? So we've all done it?
No, we haven't all done it, but our civilization as a society and as a species on the planet.
You're speaking for all of us then?
That.
Yeah?
No, I'm talking about human civilization as a
so,
whole has learned it.
Yeah. So we all have then. Brilliant. Well done.
No, you haven't learned it yet because
what do
you're
you mean?
close-minded.
You said we.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you mean we as all of us here.
As a society.
Yeah.
As a civilization on planet Earth.
Have learned or have been told?
Learned. And we've based our civilization on it. Based transportation, navigation on it.
Do you learn
Can I ask
by
you a question,
being
sir?
told things?
I didn't get that. There's too many people talking.
Do you learn by being told things? Or do you have another way of
Sometimes,
learning?
yeah. Sure. I mean, how do you know your own birth date, who your parents are?
Or if Santa's real.
What is wrong with you, man?
Nothing. Just asking you questions.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this question.
Right. What about you then? How have you learned?
I've learned everything that I know.
By being told it.
No, by experience, so, being educated and then shown things, and yeah.
Yeah, but by being told it.
Well, just being told something does not necessitate that you believe them in what they've told you.
Okay.
They could have guided you.
You
through,
have
they
believed them, right?
No, they could have guided you through a logical conclusion.
So they didn't.
That
you don't
does
believe
not
them.
mean. No, hold on. That does not mean that the logical conclusion is based upon them telling you. Rather, they just guided you to make that logical conclusion. The logical conclusion stands on its own.
Okay, you've been guided to help make a logical conclusion.
Yeah, and the logical conclusion stands on its own. It has its own truth value, independent of someone teaching you it.
I hope so.
Let's test your logic, Bev. Like, do you know who your parents are? And if so, how did you verify it?
You can't know. Can you?
So you don't know who your parents are?
I couldn't. How could you?
Interesting logic. Is that the same? Do you have the same skepticism for that as you do for everything else?
Probably.
I think he's just saying that the logical foundation is always the same. Without the personal experience to verify that what you're being told is true, you cannot know for certain it's true. It doesn't matter what ridiculous circumstance you try and come up to make it look like, well, you can't know who your parents are, you can't know China exists. Yeah, that's the point of knowledge. China could be a lie for everybody. For anybody who hasn't been there, it could just be a big old joke that everybody's in on.
Do you have the same skepticism of that as you do for something else?
How would you know that babies weren't swapped? In that little bit where the kids go afterwards. How do you know that? Unless you've been through the blood test. Well, yeah, but I haven't done that. So how do you know?
So you are of the position that you do not know who your parents are. Is that what you're saying?
I'm of the position that of the question that you just asked. I wouldn't know. How do you know?
So are you of the position?
Have you had a DNA test or a blood test or something to prove that you have been? Or are you of the same position as me? You don't know.
Does the blood test prove it as well?
Yeah, how do you know the blood test wasn't manipulated over in the where you sent it out? right? How do you know they didn't just take your same results and send them back to you and say, yeah, it's a match? You have no idea. This is the real difference between knowledge and faith.
So why don't you apply that same skepticism for the things that you guys claim, like Earth is flat, water is
flat,
level.
bro. We say it all the time. We say it all the time. It's not flat because that same logic. If something is not flat, it can't be flat. The Earth, you see, there's trees. Trees are part of the Earth. They're not flat. There's ground. That's not flat. So it's not flat. We do apply.
Are there any flat surfaces?
Isn't
What does
flat
flat mean?
Isn't flat just an aspect of a certain shape, though?
So by that logic, there's nothing is flat, and that word is useless.
Well-
Can you describe
well-
like your table as flat?
Come on.
Yeah, like say
you
I'm
obsessed,
right now.
dude?
I'm holding a mobile phone in my hand right now. When I hold it horizontal, that's a flat surface, G.
But is the phone entirely flat?
No.
Well, you're
But the
talking about an
screen is-
aspect. An aspect of the phone
Right.
is flat.
The screen. The screen's flat as fuck. Sorry to
You know,
swear.
flat actually has
But
a
it is.
scientific definition. If you guys did your research, you would know that.
It isn't about the definition. We're talking about an aspect of this thing. The thing cannot be entirely flat.
No, it has dimensions. It's not
Okay,
thin.
so let me ask you this: do you think Earth is a?
Dude, the whole point about the flat Earth, the real point about the flat Earth is discovering that the shit is not a globe. Whatever the fuck it is, whatever shape it is, this shit could be a cube. It could be in a giant cube, or a rectangle, or triangle. We don't know. It sure as hell isn't a giant globe, though.
So then, why does every observation consistent with a large globe?
It literally doesn't. No observation gives you
It
any
literally
sort of
isn't.
globe. None of them. No observation, no photo. You guys have no proof at all.
Do you think there's any proof of flat Earth?
Yeah.
Again, flat Earth is the general term for we don't live on a globe. Somebody
Every
made it
observation is
mainstream.
consistent with a globe.
The thing is, none of your observations. The only things you guys have is beautiful formulas of mathematical genius. That's all. The only thing you guys have. Other than that, you guys don't have anything. You guys can't even come up with the origin source of where the globe Earth came from.
Don't go after him. It's only Gambino. Come on. Like, everybody
I
knows
mean, they
what it's
do.
like.
They got the sun and the moon and the stars.
Let us use your same logic for where Earth came from.
What
Good. There you go.
logic?
He said we don't even have a origin point of how Earth came to be.
But that
doesn't
make it logic.
Hold on. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Hold on, Silent. Hold on. What I said was you guys can't even point properly to where the origin of the claim came from.
Okay, sorry.
Okay,
Origin
the
of the
Greeks
claim,
figured it
not
out.
the thing. Okay, fair.
Well, that was easy. The Greeks figured it out like 2,500 years ago. It had to do with the way the stars appeared at different locations. It had to do with the boats disappearing bottom up, and it had also to do with the shadow of the Earth during a lunar eclipse.
Yeah,
Those
the
are the
sun,
first
the moon,
clues.
and the stars, right?
Let's apply that just now. You're saying that 2,000 or maybe 3,000 years ago, they were 100% proof that they were living on a globe. But today, with all our advanced technology that we have, we still have these debates going on 6-7 years. So tell me, logically, just by logic alone, how is it possible that without the technology that we currently have, they were certain 100% 3,000 years ago? Please explain to me how that works.
There is no debate today. It's just you guys denying reality. That's not a
Today,
debate.
all we have is ignorance. That's why it's still here.
Yeah, I don't believe that, and I don't think you should be saying that. You know that's not true. It's just
easy to prove that the
it's
Earth
just
is
a
a sphere.
cookie
Just
cake
look at the eight
answer.
things.
Well, then let's
it's a wimpy way of getting out of the argument. It's a logical argument.
I mean, let's flip it on Gummy Bear and Big Gambino. Then, like, what are you guys doing here then? Just having fun.
I'm here curious about how people can be so wrong and for entertainment.
Of course.
So
You're doing
how
a
long can you be
psychological
curious for?
study of the retardedness of human beings, right? It's
Well,
an
now
art
it's a game.
project, right?
I like getting you guys to contradict yourselves. That's actually what it is.
Yeah,
By any chance, let me just ask the room, right? Any of you guys are harassing like transgender discords or homosexuals or people that like kids. Any of you guys go and spend 24 hours a day arguing with people with a topic that you have absolutely no interest in and think is ridiculous.
Don't put us on the same fucking boat as that people. What the hell is wrong with you?
Well, I'm just asking that. It isn't. I don't think it's normal for people that say that this is ridiculous and stupid. And there's no
we can move on from that.
24 hours a day. You know, come on.
Bring that stuff up.
Yeah, it doesn't logically add up, is what he's saying. I agree with him, but that doesn't mean you can't be here. So let's just move on. But
No.
I do want to hold his feet to the fire about his pictures.
Hold on, Rocky. Let me finish what I was saying. It wasn't about the specific topic. What and what I'm saying is, people claim that this is invalid and stupid. They seem to spend an awful lot of time on this specific topic.
Yeah, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We heard your point, right? And I'm asking to move on from that. So I want to hold his feet to the fire about the pictures of the curved water that he said he had. I'd like to see those. Maybe one that I can replicate.
Who is that directed to?
Anyone who said that they had pictures of curved earth.
It's pretty much you and
think it
Gummy Bear.
was.
Look at Soundly's.
I
Just
think
look
it
at
was
Soundly's pictures.
You. Soundly's picture isn't pictures of curved earth. There's pictures of proof of refraction, and you know that. I mean, low-level observation over water, you would agree would be heavily refracted, right?
If that's what you think, then your pictures
No,
don't
that's
prove
not what I think, right? I know that. I've proven that to myself, and I've been told that by people like you.
I've proven to myself that those are pictures of curve of Earth.
So you went there?
No, I didn't.
Let's see your. So how did you prove it for yourself?
Because I've taken pictures of long distance objects where the horizon obscures part of the
Let's
bottom.
see
I've
'em.
done astronomy, which is based on.
No,
Why
let's
does that
not
matter?
go to
You're just gonna
astronomy and the stars. Let's see the bottom-up obstruction pictures that you have. Can you post
I'll
one
do
of
you
those?
one better. How about I just show you a picture of Earth from my satellite?
If you enjoyed the content, please support On the Level and future projects. Membership subscriptions available now, or come and get involved at Next Level Discord server. Thank you.